Hello, friends, and welcome again to another single-serving tabletop adventure from Queen's Court Games. I am Aaron, your storyteller, and tonight we are playing Convergence, a Lovecraft-inspired horror scenario for Delta Green by John Scott Tynes. As always, you can find a link to this scenario by popping !scenario in chat or taking a peek at the show notes if you're catching up on YouTube or one of our podcasts. Before we jump too far into the story, I would like to introduce to you our wonderful cast because we've made some new friends. Joining us from Goblets and Gays, playing the good Dr. Allison Langley, we have Aubrey.
Hello.
Currently hiding a big surprise from us in a way that makes me a little uncomfortable, playing CIA case manager Quinn Rosewater, it is Logan.
Howdy.
Mercenary free agent TTRPG player in the role of anthropologist Joel Halusa, it is Jojo.
Hello. Hi.
And she's hot to trot and down to squat. If you think that's a euphemism, it's definitely not, because she can lift, and it's a lot. Playing Sergeant Elliot Short, U.S. Army Intelligence Support Activity, it is Evie.
Hi, everybody.
Before we get any further, it's important for you to know that Delta Green is a horror role-playing game, and today's scenario may include topics that some people find uncomfortable or objectionable. You can get a list of those by putting !safety in chat right now. I'll wait. Okay, so if any of that bothers you, that's fine. Go ahead. You can head out. No hard feelings here. We want everyone to be safe. The cast has done a check-in beforehand. We're all good to go, and we know our safety tools, but you should stay safe at home as well. But if we are all good to go, if the audience is all good to go, if everybody is good to go, allow me to tell you a story. Our game begins in Memphis, Tennessee, where 4 agents have been assembled in the wake of a string of violent crimes. A young gentleman named Billy Ray Spivey has gone on a multi-state crime wave, committing several murders en route from departing his hometown of Groversville, Tennessee. Now, string of robberies, no big deal. Federal crime, fine. Taken care of it. But something about this particular set of crimes has gotten the attention of Delta Green, a top secret conspiracy inside the United States federal government, a bit X-Files-y, one might say, but they are charged with defending the United States and its interests from the occult, from the mythos, and from the unnatural. Now, we will get into the briefing in just a little bit, but this is a secret conspiracy. You all have day jobs that you wait and go through, and I'm sure you actually do a really good job at them. And then every now and again, you get a phone call or an email. A doctor might actually get a page, since you're the only profession in the universe that still uses pagers. But the point is, you were leading a very normal life until you got a very special message and had to leave in a very big hurry. So before we get to the crazy occult part, I want to start with the basic home life part, because you can't tell your boss, hey, yeah, I got to go work for my secret government conspiracy. I'll be gone for like 2 days. Can I take PTO for that? You can't tell your wife. You can't tell your husband or your children or any other people who are your bonds, who are important to you. So the briefing is going to happen, let's say, on a Tuesday, and you will have gotten the message on the Sunday or the Monday before. So that 24 or 48 hours ago period, I would like to know what you were doing and what lie you had to tell to get out of it. Now, I'll give you some time to simmer on that. Is anyone ready to go. Any fast-paced liars here who are just like, got it, I'm up?
I got it.
All right, Jojo, tell us what's up.
Basically, for the lie would be, should I introduce my character's name or just leave it as what I've been up to?
As you like. No hard and
Okay.
fast rules.
All right, no worries. My character, his name is Joel, Joel to most of his friends, but he works in the EPA as a anthropologist consultant, mostly helping with like interviewing or cultural analysis if things are ever unearthed to find maybe if it's okay to build land over or if artifacts need to be like safely transported. So the lie comes pretty easily at home, and it's easy to say, oh well, we've recently there was a new dig site or new artifacts that were excavated in Memphis, right? Is what you said? Is that where we're going? So that would be a very quick, oh yeah, there's a new dig site, honey. His wife is named Aubrey, and he calls her Odds for short. There's a fresh new one, little one named Leo, short for Leonardo, but Odds prefers to call him Leon. It's a little bit of an argument, but we'll see what the kid decides when they get older. They live in, I would say, close to, a little outside of New Orleans, closer to the Florida Panhandle, off the Gulf there. And for the last 48 hours, Joel he's not particularly concerned with life outside of, occasionally having to leave town and, just raising his child and providing a good home life. So for the last weekend was just enjoying domestic bliss, going to the beach and having a good time.
So when it comes time to interrupt that, you just say, oh, I've, duty calls. God only knows what the Tennessee Valley Authority's up to now, but and this hasn't happened before, has it? You haven't done much work with this agency.
No, definitely not. Occasionally, government agencies will ask me for a little bit of consultancy just to see if, is this actually an artifact? Or was this a rock that some kid made by smashing together, So occasionally, depending on availability, I can get called around. It's not unusual. I've been doing it for a few years now, maybe 5-6 years. And, sometimes some of the trips are a little unique depending on the location, but it shouldn't affect anything out of the norm, really.
Okay, and not storyteller asking, it's just Aaron asking, how do you tell the difference between like rock chipped 1,000 years ago and rock chipped 1,000 minutes ago by a kid?
So glad you asked. Depending on how the stone tools are made, there are certain breaks in the rock. Like if you look at like the Oldowan style, oh wow, I'm such a dork. All right, I'm gonna expose myself. But once you crack the rocks together in a particular way, like there's the Oldowan toolkit, among others, but there's a specific way that we began fletching with like flint or obsidian, and you can tell by the strokes in the rock, as opposed to something that might just be a fleck. Also, you can, there's a lot of different dating methods you can use. Thermoluminescence is good for like pottery, which basically is putting it into like a vacuum and supercharging it with heat, and the glow that it puts off is indicative of the last time it was fired in coals. So like there's a lot of different dating methods, depending on what I'm looking at. That's why they call me in.
Okay, I'm sorry, everybody who
Yeah.
came here for Delta Green Game, but I'm here for this pottery lecture. Is anyone else have a problem with
No,
that? Are we all just
100%.
cool?
Can we just have listen to Jojo talk for the next 3 hours? I'm so sorry.
That sounds good.
This is fascinating.
Yeah, it really is.
I love it so much.
Well, in case you need to commit antiquities fraud, now you know what to look out for in the future, audience.
Sorry.
Going from people with very easy explanations, I think actually, Agent North, you would also probably have a pretty easy job of it, considering your reputation with the agency and your job. What were you up to when the call came in?
Luckily, not anything super personal. Elliot Short, by nature, is very people averse. She very much loves her work. She as an intelligence support activity analyst, she is very much about the data and the numbers and finding information and following all of that. The people are secondary. They're a necessary thing that she has to deal with, but she's not super into people. So for her, the only person that she would ever even think about talking to about any of this or having an excuse to come up with for is her roommate, a man named Austin McCormick, who's a fellow Army intelligence officer.
Saying roommate or roommate?
No, roommate.
Okay.
So here's a little bit about Elliot. She's been working with Delta Green for a while, and after the inciting incident, she actually doesn't feel safe being by herself anymore. So she has a roommate out of necessity, but strictly that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you say?
I just tell him duty calls, and he knows what that means. He's an Army guy. He understands needs of the military, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's very, very easy to say, hey, I'm going to Memphis. I'll see you in a week.
And then follow-up question, how do you tell apart a rock that is actually from the antiquity era?
It's actually really, really easy. There's a few different methods depending on what you're looking for.
Well, Agent North having a very, very easy time of it. Agent Eastman, I believe also your employers are kind of used to you skipping around. Maybe the family less so. What were you doing 24 or 48 hours ago?
So 48 hours ago, Agent Eastman, real name is Quinn Rosewater. Quinn was probably at home. He lives alone. He is separated. He's divorced. But he was probably at home just enjoying a couple days off. He always kind of makes time for himself, mostly because he's also gone on a couple of these missions. And I guess, unlike Agent North, I like to be alone. I like to actually not hear the weird creeping ons that go on throughout the night. I'd rather just be by myself. So probably when I got the file saying we need you down in Memphis, the first thing that he did was he called in, said, I'm going to be gone for another couple of days. Don't worry about it. I got everything taken care of. I got, pass downs are taken care of already. I have to put on hold some of my own personal projects. Big thing that I like to do is just make model kits at home. I'm just going to have to hold off on that for a bit. Now, I'm going to say, unfortunately, I don't know nearly as much about what a CIA handler does on the day-to-day. So, mostly what I was doing was really just taking some time off and letting everyone know that government work does give you that PTO whenever you really need it sometimes.
It's one of the perks. Good retirement plan, lots of time off.
Retirement plan until this happens.
The Delta Green retirement plan is very different from the federal government retirement plan, but we will hopefully not have to address that at the end of this scenario, but you never know.
The retirement plan is death.
Wow, spoilers, Jojo. Spoilers.
There are only 3 ways out. Suffice it to say, very few agents have happy endings in their later years. Lastly, certainly not leastly, turning back to the civilian world, Dr. West, what was going on in your neck of the woods?
Allison was probably having a rare weekend off that, didn't have to be in a hospital, doing work, spending time with her husband and her daughter. Her husband is also a doctor, so it's just like it's pretty busy, and they don't get to spend a lot of time together, especially with their daughter, husband John, daughter Vanessa. And she gets the call, and this is a question for me. Like the whole person going on a bank robbery, that was like news. People would hear about that, right?
Maybe if you're a kind of news person, but the sad truth of the world is there's a whole lot of stuff going on. So I mean, like it's the kind of news climate where actually it might, maybe not. I guess if you're a really big Twitter person or you follow the right subreddits or anything like that, you might hear about it. But otherwise, it could have easily slipped by.
I mean, if people end up getting injured or something like that. I mean, she's a doctor, and maybe she says she knows someone that's in Memphis that has asked for her help with, either an operation or maybe help with some of the patients that may have gotten injured in the bank robbery. So she agreed to go for the week and give them some help.
Well, there you have it. Every operation begins with a lie, but from the sound of things, it was actually pretty easy for our 4 agents to make it out of their home circumstances and on their way to Memphis. Well, that is where you will all arrive, in the state federal building. The FBI has a field office there. That is where they are keeping the gentleman in question, Billy Ray Spivey. Now, you will have been briefed at this moment, and I will tell you now the facts of the case. We can come back to it later, but if you want to start dribbling down your notes, good time to do so. Spivey vanished 8 days ago from his parents' home in Groversville, Tennessee. 6 days ago, he returned to that home with no knowledge of what had happened. He claimed that his missing time, had zero idea where he was in the meantime. He reported being ill and in a great deal of physical pain, at which point his parents put him in his bedroom, let him sleep, pushed chicken soup, fluids, that kind of thing, and had the local doctor examine him. During this time, the doctor noted no strange behaviors, could identify no illness, but did report he had an incredible appetite, never hesitating to eat anything in front of him, which made it strange when they could not collect any kind of stool or urine samples because Billy did not urinate or defecate for the duration of being under the doctor's care. Four days ago, he went into some kind of fit. His father attempted to hold him down, quiet him. Spivey punched his father not in the chest, but through the chest, killing his father almost instantly. The mother reports at that point that he was distraught, fled the house, and took off running down the road towards town. In Groversville, he robbed the Sinclair gas station of about $65 and several packages of aspirin. He stole the cashier's car and sped down Highway 135. The cashier said that Spivey didn't have a gun, but security footage shows him demolishing the countertop with his bare hands. Now, over the next several days, Spivey raced into Alabama and then to Georgia. Those who encountered him reported him as being manic, with no real sense of who he was or what he was doing. He robbed several more gas stations along the way, always taking money, food, and an assortment of painkillers. The FBI took an interest in this case after the first robbery in Alabama. At that point, it had crossed state lines and become federal jurisdiction. In Georgia, a roadblock manned by an FBI agent and a state trooper intercepted Spivey's vehicle and shot him 4 times before Spivey managed to bend the trooper's riot gun in half. The rounds were enough to drop him, not kill him, He was then taken in, drugged, and examined. Medical analysis shows that muscle tissue in his arms and legs has been replaced entirely with a strange and unidentifiable tissue that, while mimicking human muscle, also has a number of non-human characteristics. You can see now, those of you who are familiar with the program, why you were called in. Now, all evidence points to Groversville. Whatever happened to Spivey happened there, and that is what your team has been summoned to investigate. Agent Eastman, Agent North for obvious reasons, Dr. West, obvious reasons as well. Agent Southerland, you might be wondering, what the fuck does an anthropologist have to do with all of this? To that, I will tell you that Groversville is also the site of an extremely high number of UFO sightings. The area is steeped in UFO lore. Is it ufologists is how you pronounce that word? Make pilgrimages there, and the whole place has its own kind of lore. And they are hoping that your ability to deal with, to take oral histories from people, to make sense of local folklore, might help you read between the lines and find out what actually happened. At least that's what the email said. Now, Spivey is not available for questioning because the only way they've been able to contain him is by keeping him way drugged up. This is the brief as it has been given to you when the team assembles. As is the normal case with Delta Green, they don't really care if you know one another. They don't really care the order in which you arrive. In fact, it's better for them if they keep the information separately. So at this point, everybody has 2d10. Would you do me a solid? Roll your first roll, and we will see which folks encounter each other first.
29.
45.
22.
100.
It's either really good or really bad.
Looks like Eastman is late.
Yeah. Okay, so we've done this 3 or 4 times, and every time I'm like, roll dice to see who's coming in. It always ends up weirdly clustered in a way that it does not jive with probability. And it makes me wonder if running these games is actually causing like the Alterverse to leak into my life, which I'm not super okay with. But yes.
Don't ask those questions, Aaron. You know that.
Right. First of all, Delta Green, don't ask. I do believe Agent North, Agent West, you are the ones who will be arriving close enough together. Agent Southerland, quick on your heels. Let us start that scene off. So, Agent North, you had the lowest roll, if I recall. Describe the woman waiting in this FBI side conference room office.
Did you say me? No,
Yes.
I'm not. Oh, I did not. I did not have the lowest. I had 29.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Was it Dr. West?
No, I got 45.
I had 22.
I thought.
22.
Okay, my bad.
Okay, I thought
okay.
Aubrey said 25 as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that makes it easy. Agent Southerland, do you prefer doctor, professor? I mean,
well, I actually don't have a PhD. My education goes as far as a master's, so I just go by Agent Southerland as far as the debrief goes. But you know, my friends call me by my name.
Well, no friends here. What are you doing then when Agent North, if I have remembered correctly from 2 minutes ago, will be coming inside? Describe this gentleman, what you're doing. You've just gotten what is, I think, the professional anthropological term for this is a batshit crazy briefing.
Okay. And are we like in a what kind of like building are we in, or?
And this is the Memphis Federal Building, so it has that catalog carpet, like really thick stitched blue industrial carpet.
Okay.
The furniture is all that same kind of like general services catalog. It's not like folding chairs, but those like brown waiting room chairs at the DMV.
The kind of building that's just been there for 40 years and hasn't been updated in 30.
Yeah, the only reason the chairs are nice is because there's been literally trillions of anti-terrorism dollars flowing into this kind of place, and they had to do something with it.
All right. Well, in this kind of place, I guess, is this a like meeting room that like everyone's kind of coming into? Well, I guess so. Agent Southerland is of like modest stature. He's about 5'9" He's got kind of like olive skin and short cropped hair, cropped shorter than mine. It's kind of short on the sides and just 2.5 inches up top. He sneezes. That is what I want the first impression to be, is him sitting in this dusty room, awkwardly, a little early, awkwardly thinking, okay, am I in the right place? And just as he's kind of hanging out, twiddling on the desk, the door finally opens, and it's at that moment that he's trying to stifle a sneeze with like one of those cat faces where they're like, and I would like that to be his first scene.
I think Agent North is already making the face that she makes when she sees you entering the room.
Excuse me, sorry, it's a little dusty in here. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, we could maybe call for like a humidifier or something. I don't know. It's a little, probably haven't run the. Anyway, I'm Agent Southerland. You are?
Agent North.
Nice to meet you, Agent North.
What kind of figure are you cutting as you stand in the room? So you didn't come in uniform. That would be a bit obvious. But what does a U.S. Army Special Forces support officer dress like when they want to look inconspicuous? And is it even possible for you to look inconspicuous when you are like jacked like that?
I'm not that jacked. I have to spend a bunch of time keeping myself busy, and if it's not at work, it's at the gym. It's just part of being a Delta Green agent, you know. It hasn't been very kind to me. So yes, I do spend a lot of time at the gym, but this is easily fixed by wearing oversized hoodies and tighter fitting pants, because thunder thighs you can only hide so well, but hoodies, it kind of keeps the bulkier arms hidden. But otherwise I'm fairly innocuous looking. Short dusty hair and a pixie cut, like green eyes, just wearing as neutral colors as possible. So I stand there and I just kind of give him a look because he's being very friendly and I'm not. Yeah. It's nothing personal, just to clarify it. I mean, it is in that you are a person, and that is just generally a thing that I'm not interested in. But it's not personal to you specifically.
Right.
I swear, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
It's
not you, it's everybody else.
Dressed super plainly in like khakis, like brown little boots, little shoes, and just a white button down, a plain white button down, with like a satchel at his side with like a notebook, and he's just like dressed nice, like there's like khakis and a button down for the office, casual kinda.
Barely enough time to make these introductions. Well, a little more than that. I suppose if you wanted to hit the water cooler in the corner and get a cup of coffee, you'd have time to do that before Dr. West arrives on the scene. 2 people already in the room.
You could probably feel the tension in the room. Tension is probably enough to cut with a knife.
It's not tension. It's just a general disdain for people.
I'm trying to balance this pencil on my face in about 1 minute.
And is this building like a no phone zone?
No, not this part.
This part?
They didn't take you into the top secret area because it's kind of understood that you wouldn't be discussing like national security secrets. It's also a little troublesome, like when you're a secret conspiracy, like hey, secret conspiracy, just need some passes for these people to go into the top secret place. No questions, don't worry about it. Just like it's a normal so.
Because I imagine she pretty much got to the airport, got to a car, headed straight there. So she has been on the phone with her husband and her daughter, just like the, hi, I totally just landed in Memphis. I'm about to head to the hospital and see what they need my help with. And she's saying this as she's like, coming in. She is like a woman in her mid-30s. She has that faded red hair that is almost going like kind of a strawberry blonde that's kind of pulled back into a tight bun. She's just wearing, regular shoes, like jeans, t-shirt with like a flannel over it. She's got like her like to-go bag over her shoulder, and she's just on the phone, and she's just like, yeah, no, sweetie, I know. I'm sorry that this was so incredibly last second, but just be good. Help your dad out, and I'll be back before you know it. And then she enters, and she looks around. She's like, yeah, I gotta go. It's gonna be busy. I'll call when I can. Okay, love you. And she hangs up and looks around, and she's just like, nice to meet you.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
We're in the awkward phase where nobody knows each other. Have a seat.
I will. But yes, coffee first. She's gonna go get a cup of coffee. Dr. West, it's nice to meet you.
Agent Southerland.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
For the record, there will never not be an awkward phase of us not knowing each other, because I hope not to know any more about any of you than I already do.
That does seem to check out from what I know so far. But yes, has a cup of coffee, comes, sits at the table.
Based on your role, Agent Eastman, we are going to say that you are tragically late. So you have this conversation that I'm about to have to think of a really cool reason why you show up just as the meeting is ending. But the 3 of you who made it with rolls less than 100, at this point, a 40-something, not bald, but like very high on his temples, will be bald soon, has a bit of a desk gut, but also like dad strength. So he's like, he needs to get out from behind the desk more, but I wouldn't pick a fight with him at a bar. The image that's coming to mind immediately is the guy from Breaking Bad who isn't Walter White, whose name I cannot remember.
Gus?
Airman Trout?
No,
the DEA agent.
Oh, Hank. Hank Schrader.
Hank. Yeah, a very like Hank body. Probably like, you know what? We'll just run with that.
That's who he is now.
I wish I could do that accent, but I haven't smoked enough cigarettes in the last 4 minutes to accomplish that gravel. Anyway, so he introduces himself a little bit grumpy. It is obvious that this is not something he wanted to be dealing with. He says, hello, do not bother telling me who you are. I am Agent Derringer, we'll call it that. You've all read your briefing materials, right?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes.
Can you put those on the table now? If I find that anyone has taken any of that out of this building, I cannot kill you, but I will make sure something very bad happens.
I stand up and I just walk, place it, return to my seat. No nonsense.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you've read all that. Let me show you then exactly what we're dealing with. He shuts the door behind himself, walks over to the laptop that's sitting there, plugs in a thumb drive, and the projector descends from the ceiling. And anti-terrorism dollars, they have those fancy ones that come down like the and then screen. This is security footage from some kind. It's from a gas station, so it's black and white, the kind of stuff you normally see on like a TV set flickering in the back office. You see what appears to be an ordinary young man approaching the gas station counter. He obviously looks agitated. There's no sound, but you can see his face moving. He is speaking with a pained look on his face. Cashier is just staring back at him totally blankly, just lack of understanding face. It is that point the man lashes out, strikes the cashier on the side of the head with his fist. Not like a full windback haymaker, but more just like a lazy right hook. The cashier's skull collapses. His head is very nearly torn off of his shoulders by the force of the blow. It hangs off just by like a little flap of viscera lolling about at the side as the entire body slumps down to the floor, blood pooling up out everywhere. The young man takes a step back, obvious look of shock on his face, hits some keys on the cash register, out the door running off screen. Agent Eastman, Agent North, even Dr. West, you have seen violence in the world, but not like this. Watching someone get shot, watching footage of drone strikes, that has its own kind of effect in the world, but this is a level of violence that is just beyond what you were maybe ready for at 10 a.m. in the morning. So
just a quick.
Yeah.
Am I still not there?
Yes, because you like 100 in Delta Green is a fumble, so we're gonna lean into that and have you show up just after this video's ended, which is good because all the other people here, they have to roll sand right now, but you don't have to because you didn't see the video.
Advantages
53.
of being late.
So I have to roll sanity. Is that what you said?
Yes, you'll roll your percentile dice. And the objective is to roll below your current sanity number. If you roll under it, congratulations, you won't lose any of your sanity. If you roll over it, let's talk.
I rolled an 18, so I
rolled a 50, and my sanity is a 51, so just barely.
Nice. And Agent North, you're good?
Oh yeah, I rolled a 53. I'm good.
So at this point, Derringer ends the video. He says, you've read about it. Now you've seen it. That's what you're getting into. Do you have any questions about the information you've received so far? And at this point, Agent Eastman, looking a little sheepish, or maybe not. Maybe you just own the moment. But now you arrive in the room.
I'm owning that moment. I am dressed full black suit, black tie, sunglasses. I'm on my phone. I have a headset, and you can hear me say, "Jamila, I get it. I know. Okay. Listen, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it." I look around the room real quick. I'm late, aren't I? Am I
Yes.
late?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Honey, I'll have to talk to you later. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Bye. I hang up on the phone and I look. I see everyone. Agent Eastman, nice to meet you all.
Dr. West, nice to meet you.
Agent Derringer has just have you seen men like that get angry and the neck kind of retreats into the shoulders like a tortoise? As like exactly that. Just not a lot, but just like a little bit of a vein twitch.
I think I notice it, but acknowledging it would make I think it would make the situation worse.
Yeah.
So instead I look around the room, I see the folders on a desk. I open up my briefcase that I'm carrying, take out my folder, and I put it on the table. Like, not my first rodeo. so I kind of know what we're doing, what's going on. So I was like, sorry about that. Traffic was killer. Just absolutely destroyed me there. Not used to this town.
I mean, even if he were terribly upset about it, it's not like he can do anything about it. Agent North might have some opinions based on the facial expressions she's making, but the other two seem okay with it. So, I mean, 50% of the room doesn't seem to mind.
Are you CIA Agent Eastman?
I mean, that's a possibility, but I think you know just as much as I that we really shouldn't be talking about such things. And I kind of look at what is, to me, obviously civilians. Like, I can see the look of someone who's been in the military, because I've also been in the military. Just like, yeah, I could be CIA, I could be FBI, I could just be a local sheriff for all you know, but realistically, let's keep that.
No, there's just an air about you, is all.
One from you don't think the guy currently trying to balance a pencil on his upper lip is, you know, like is a special agent, right? You don't think he's like a Secret Service counterterrorism specialist, huh? Just doesn't even in your mind?
I mean, I work with people that are civies a lot, so it's not unusual to like know, like, don't judge a book by its cover, but just looking at Southerland, I kind of just go like, nope, not this guy. Nope.
I drop the pencil.
Yep. And even looking at West, I'm just like, she looks capable, but probably not like North over there. Not in the same way, at least.
No.
Well, introductions aside, Derringer, you've made it at least in time for the question and answer phase. Now, most of what we know is in that book. I can give you slightly more context, maybe a couple more details, but at this point, I think it's pretty clear what we're getting up to. So, last minute questions before I put you out the door. Dr. West?
Do we have any of the bodies or any of those, any of the people that might have been hurt or killed? Do we have any of that and study, at least get some forensic knowledge of how this happened, like what kinds of forces did this?
Well, at the moment, those are all still in the possession of local authorities, county morgues and such. Right now, we're hoping that you all can keep a lid on it, maybe figure it out without us having to go in federal, snatching bodies out of morgues. That's going to attract the kind of attention that we really don't want to have to get into. I can play the video again if you want to get a better look at just what kind of force we're dealing with, but...
I mean, I wasn't here for the video.
No.
Is that something we wanted? No? Okay. I mean...
All I could tell, it was definitely more than a human should be able to do. So, I mean, I can explain it and go over it later, but I was just hoping to have
I'll
a chance
take you up on that, Doctor.
to look at the body. But if we can't get it, it's okay. I can figure out another way.
Agent Southerland kind of raises his hand as like to have a question, and we'll raise his hand and wait until called upon.
Yeah, Southerland.
I was wondering if the people of Groversville have any, I don't know, occult practices. Some people have a bad trip off of like ayahuasca or similar type things that aren't properly chaperoned, and so sometimes people can have induced hallucinogenic rage, and so I was wondering if we were familiar or if there was any sort of local churches or common practices that maybe I could start to ask around, because this could be something that is done to this person, is what I'm thinking. They may not be in control of their faculties, and sometimes ceremonial rites, people that haphazardly do them, they're victims as well sometimes. So I was just wondering if that was something we knew.
Well, I can tell you this much. You're in the heart of the Bible Belt, and I'm a Catholic. They're Protestant, which is weird, but I don't think it's super strength weird. Aside from that, they've got, all the normal UFO stuff, crop circles, livestock mutilation, livestock alteration. There was, I'm pretty sure, some kind of special on one of those, unsolved enigmas shows went down there. It's a huge mess. Our official position. So,
yeah.
Aliens don't exist. Don't know where that's coming from. But so far as religions, it's pretty much the Bible or the gray aliens.
I see. You mentioned altering animals. This is normally a sign of like iconography. Sometimes people will stitch together, the wings of a chicken and throw it onto a dog or a snake. As like a sort of chimera. Do we have records maybe of these altered animals that I might be able to maybe pull symbology for?
I appreciate your expertise, Southerland. This is the exact kind of thinking why you're on this mission, but this is the Federal Bureau of Investigation, mostly dealing with, bank fraud, counterterrorism, things like that. We tend to keep the people stitching things together in a separate department unless it's a serial killer, but the numbers have been down on that since the 90s. Tell you what, you find a person who's stitched together, you give me a call, I'll get a task force down there, we'll solve ourselves a crime. In the meantime, though, and he kind of just lets that float off to the side.
He will look over pleadingly at the very cool agents, and it is a very much like, will you take me to the super secret building? It's very much the puppy dog, like, what am I supposed to do?
Agent North?
Sir, he vanished 8 days ago. There were 2 missing days. I can't assume that we were lucky enough that he had a cell phone on him at the time.
Negative. And that's something that you should also kind of be paying attention to. Cell phone traffic in the area is pretty spotty. You're in the middle of some mountains, and no offense to the good people of Tennessee, but their infrastructure dollars have not been spent well in that regard. You're going to be going a little backwater here.
Sure, and I assume that means that there is no camera traces of where he went for those 2 days. Like, obviously, we have convenience stores that he hit up. We have camera footage from those in the aftermath, but nothing about his whereabouts in those 2 days that he was gone.
No, you're quite right on that front. Wish we could, but best we got is a couple security cameras and a couple stores.
Got it.
Just to clarify, if I remember correctly in the briefing, he has some missing memory. Is that correct?
That's what his mother reports. Now, that's all the information that we have. Not saying it's fact, but...
And he is, at this point, indisposed, so to speak?
Yeah, we're going to indispose the shit out of him until we know what you all figure out's wrong with him. That man ripped a gun in half, punching people's heads off. Yeah, he's real fucking indisposed.
Are we going to be able...
Understandable.
Sorry, apologies. Are we going to be able to have access to his body? Obviously, we cannot interview him in his current state, but I assume we'll be able to examine his body.
Gave you the notes about the preliminaries, and rest assured, we do have a medical team who are going to, what was the word, Southerland? Chimera? When you start taking things apart and stitching them together? Yeah, they're going to chimera him, and we'll let you know if anything comes up.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested to aid any of their findings on any of this. I can at least make sense of it for us.
Well, on that good note, he draws over like a thickly stuffed manila envelope that's been sitting on the table and kind of pushes it in your general direction. 1 satellite phone. It has enough minutes for you to call us for an update. That's it. Incoming calls is fine. If we get any more data, we'll send it to you. It's unregistered. Do not lose it. It's very expensive.
Is that a phone for all of us, or is one person having the phone?
Well, I will let you all decide who is the person most deserving to hold on to the satellite phone, but I'm pretty sure that is the most sophisticated technology this county of Tennessee will see this decade. So having 4 of them running around, that's gonna...
Yeah, no, I'm just making sure. North, you said you want to take it?
Yes. I think that it's best in my hands.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that as well.
Sounds good to me.
Fucking Agent Southerland is just like, does it have Snake on it? Can I play?
I don't know. If you wanted to Google, look for like the mid-range Iridium satellite phone. Iridium is the name of the satellite network.
I'm just picturing like the phone from Jurassic Park 3, you know, that one satellite phone.
And then
it's like one of those big boys.
Technology's advanced a little bit, but you still need a pretty big antenna to get there. So Derringer will move to concluding with a few pieces. He says, obviously, something happened in that city. Something happened in those 2 days. We don't know what. It's your job to find out. You either need to shut it down or let us know so we can shut it down for you. I'm going to give you about a week on this one. If we haven't heard back from you by then, there's no updates, well, it's a whole different protocol that we have to start working on. This is your op. I'm just the case managing agent. No chain of command, no rules. You have to keep things quiet, keep things contained, and if you can solve it along the way, that's great. But advice from me as an agency man, you can start with his mother, Angel Spivey. She's still alive. No idea if she'll be willing to chat so much given the recent death of her husband and the incarceration of her son, but why not? It's a place to start. Billy Ray was also pretty popular with a crowd of young folks in the area. I don't know what the hell you do in Groversville, Tennessee, but he's who they did it with. We have no idea what the local lodging situation is, except to say there's a place called Merle's Shut-Eye. If there were any people drifting through town, that's the only motel in the area, and if you want to stay more than a couple days, that's where you should go. Wish I could tell you more, wish I could give you some more information, but, well, two of you, you know how this works. The other two of you, you're about to find out. There's a rental car in the garage. He pulls the keys out of his pocket, tosses them on the table. The rest is up to you.
I immediately go for those keys, by the way.
Yeah, you do.
I don't fight you on that.
I pick up my pencil.
If there are no further questions, he says in a way that suggests there should be no further questions.
No, sir.
All right.
Good
luck.
Nope, I'm good.
And with that, he's out. Like he collects the things that you have got the briefing packets and his USB stick, and he's going back to his business. This meeting never happened.
I want to take a moment and kind of assess. Like I've done a quick view of everyone in the room. And at first, like when I saw Southerland, like I kind of thought he was a little bit of a. I didn't have a lot of confidence, but after he started like actually going on a detailed like, hey, what about occult stuff? I went, oh, the guys at Delta Green know what they're actually doing. Okay, so I'm glad I see that. I see Agent North, and I'm like, well, that's obvious. That's why she's here. Okay, that's fine. And then I kind of look at the doctor at Dr. West, and I'm just like, okay, so we got a medical specialist, we got some guy who might know about occult, and we got two actual military trained people. I'm feeling pretty good about this. So I just kind of smile at everyone and I go, are we ready to go, or anyone need to do anything before we head out?
The Agent Derringer, he made a reference that there might be a way we could, I don't know, access the remains of these altered bodies or animals or I hope not the people, but if we have to go to the people, I guess the people. But I think that could be useful in just giving us an initial direction. As far as I heard, that it's really kind of the only evidence, minus like, you know, more dead people, I guess. Or
So I
Yeah.
don't want you to confuse two things, because the one are the very, very dead people that Billy Ray Spivey like literally beat the heads off of. That's category one.
Yes.
The cattle animal mutilation is just some like made up 1990s UFO bullshit so far as I'm concerned. It's like he's like, it's the X-Files people say, like little
it's
alien.
Like someone said it, but no one gave enough of a shit.
Yeah, like if there is actually someone mutilating cattle into like weird occult chimeras, Derringer will be very surprised. As far as he's concerned, like that information is on like that one GeoCities page that is still up, and like the reports come from a blog that still posts all of its headlines with those like red flashing siren gifs.
Got it. I understand.
Yeah.
Then in that case, just in the direction of the bodies, maybe could be a good place.
Yeah, bodies are good. I will see if I can get a look at any of the corpses. But also, I do think our big thing is figuring out what happened during those 2 days.
Well, as Derringer said, bodies are going to be hard to access. It's
I'm not going to really try too hard on that. If we can, if I can get any notes from people who are examining Spivey, yes, I can go over those, see if I can figure out any of like the weird tissue or anything, and then probably talk to the family and anybody who may have known him. It's probably our best place to start.
There's one piece that I neglected to mention, which Derringer would have told you, which is your local contact is Sheriff Dan Oakley, who is expecting you. They have called ahead and said you are the team that's going in, and your official cover is you are investigating the possibility of drug-related violence, that Spivey obviously committed these crimes under the influence of some like weird Colombian super PCP or something, and that is what you're going
I was just going to say.
Of. Yeah, I mean, then that makes it easier to get access to the bodies of the victims and just being like, examine, autopsy, things like that.
But aside from that, yeah, the rest of the information will come to you. In terms of bodies, like Spivey killed people in 3 states and 7 counties. So you're definitely not going to drive county by county by county.
Yeah, we're just going to focus on the ones that are in Groversville.
Yeah, and the only ones in Groversville would be the cashier and the father. But I think we can say a lot of this conversation and thinking and plotting would happen on the drive from Memphis to Groversville. It's about an hour and a half. You are leaving civilization, for lack of a better word. No offense to our Tennessean. What's the adjective there?
Tennessean?
All right,
I think
I like that.
We should have asked Chrissy before we started.
If we have a regional expert, I didn't make use of her. You are there's this Memphis cluster, but you're going up into the hills. This is I don't want to say like a place forgotten by time, because that's pushing it a bit, but they are a nice quiet holler in the hills. I will provide for you in just a moment a general overlay of the town. It's not like a quest map or anything. It's just so you can visualize this place. While I look for that, were there other conversations that were going to happen in the car?
In general, we don't want to give too much about ourselves, but like, I try to be very friendly and ask people like, how are they feeling about everything? How are they feeling about the situation? Because again, I wasn't there for the video, so I didn't get to see
and
it.
I would describe what I saw to you.
Okay.
And sort of like, this is how it played out. This is like that. And then I was like, I would have given you some of my theories about like how that can happen.
Okay. Yeah. Like I want this team to like know that I'm willing to rely on them, at like
a
throughout
base
this entire
trust.
Yes. Yeah.
I think in the car ride, once like I think Joel has a very kind of like a little bit of like the new kid on the block feeling, and then but watching the video of someone's head nearly being taken off by a punch or a loose swing kind of rattled him a little bit, just in the way like he's come across like remains before, but they're ancient, they're dusty, they're mostly bones, you know. So it's one of those things where it was like, what am I? This is a live thing. And so about 40, halfway through the car ride, eventually he would kind of say, so everybody's kind of done this before?
Yes.
Done this exact thing, no, but something similar, yeah.
Not my first rodeo, but I can't say I've been doing this for very long.
He just kind of nods, and you know, he's like, internal monologue is like, they don't know you're scared, they don't know you're scared, and is just going to kind of,
yes, I do.
I can feel the energy, kid. I can feel that energy.
Well, that is a good time to bring up some of the skills. One of the things that Delta Green does differently than other RPGs is, in many cases, it will just ask, well, do you have a relevant skill high enough? So if you have human, for example, which would be the, is someone scared of something hiding, are they lying skill? If you have that high enough, you don't have to roll for certain tasks. So Agent North, how's your human looking?
50.
And Agent Eastman, yours?
80.
Yeah, so Agent Eastman, you can read this guy like a book, and not even read him like a book. You can read him like a book at like the third grade reading level. Like, it's mostly just pictures and small words. How transparent Agent Southerland is.
Very domestic. Very.
I have like a specialty to like read people's, like, I get their vibes so quickly, and that's why I like try to keep things at a very, hey, let's keep civil, let's be friendly, because if they all of a sudden know I know too much about them, I think I would be a little creepy.
But it's good there's not an immediate breakdown. Sometimes these drives break down immediately into petty bickering and status seeking. So it's nice to see a Delta Green cell come together in a way that lets them be mission oriented.
I am always only mission oriented, because otherwise, people.
You spend a lot of time in a dark room just staring at top secret files, because SCIFs, the facilities where you look at classified intelligence, aren't allowed to have like windows. Like, you are in the dark for 12, 14, 16 hours a day. It's not a great way to go through life. But that explains why she's so pale, right? See, it's all coming together. We're committed to verisimilitude here in these court games. We believe in it.
How dare you?
If there's nothing, I mean, actually, you do kind of live in a place where for several months out of the year, it is dark.
Just exist in darkness. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All of that said, let's talk about where your first stop is going to be. We're going to see the drive's uneventful. Just the kind of small talk that goes there. And with Agent Eastman and North being veterans of the program, they know better than to get into small talk. I think Dr. West is picking up that vibe, and if nothing else, Agent Sutherland's just too afraid to be the one who gets caught starting that kind of stuff. So let's talk about what happens when you're 10 or 15 minutes away from town, when you're coming off the big federal highway and onto the state road. You see the sign, Groversville, 12 miles that way. What is the op plan?
We need a base of operations. The first thing we need to do.
Yes, that is a very good start.
Merle, shut eye.
So,
Yeah.
we'll head there first. I have like stashed my phone away. I don't want it on me. I don't want it anywhere near. So it's probably, before we left, I left it at a locker in the federal agency, just because I don't want it going here at all. So unless we have a physical map, which, I mean, I'm driving, so, someone else has to look at it. I don't know where I'm going, but let's head there first.
You are in luck. As you can see on the map that I've posted into our chat, there's like one actual road in this town. Like, there is a main drag, and it doesn't drag very far, so it would not be hard for you to find Merle's shut-eye. Also, if you can't tell by the name, it's got that like 1950s 1960s like roadside hotel kind of feel. So it would definitely be the kind of place that has a gigantic sign with the exaggerated lettering on it. There's a specific word for that kind of for that era of like specifically roadside motel, like we're just keeping. But anyway, I don't know the word. I don't know how to describe that word. There's a big damn sign that says Merle Shut-Eye in some elaborate like red cursive letters. And maybe in the past it used to light up and blink, but it doesn't anymore.
Start taking the car that way.
Well, you will find it, let's say, lightly manned. There is only one person behind the counter, a rather elderly woman. Rural Tennessee, not the kind of place you expect a really hip young crowd to be hanging out. So, of course, it makes sense that this like late 60s, early 70s, hair already gone white, but still in good shape. Not like what's her name, like Rose at the end of Titanic old, but senior in her years. Behind the desk, you can tell immediately this is the kind of place that has not been upgraded in a while. It has an interior hallway going to doors as opposed to an exterior, which makes it unique among hotels that you might experience on the road. However, definitely has actual old keys on the big rings on hanging on a board behind her. You can see on the desk, there's no like insert chip thing. It's one of those big ka-chunk credit card readers. For those of you used to a more modern kind of lifestyle, and hell, not even modern, like, because the 90s, let's say the 2000s when we started to switch to the swipes. Yeah, this is a little bit out of time for you. But as you come in, she does give you a genial smile. There is still something to be said for rural hospitality, and she is quite happy to see guests. Hello. Yeah, welcome to Merle's Shut-Eye. Nice to see you. I'm assuming you're here for the UFO stuff, right? We don't see many people out of town unless it's for that.
He is, and I point at Agent Southerland.
I am struggling with a duffel bag full of textbooks that is there's like the normal bag of stuff and then my own bag of nonsense books, and it is just kind of like pitching it forward up onto his chest, but then his like face is like the bags just kind of stumble against him a little bit.
I noticed him struggling and went out of my way to not put myself in a position to be asked.
Yeah, free action.
Southerland.
Don't even worry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that, yeah, no, it's, yeah, well, I've only got, unfortunately, one room available. The others, well, you as the UFO, you obviously know that, you folks come down here quite a bit, but it's got two beds, if y'all don't mind sharing.
I'm fine with that.
I am fine with that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather rip my skin off. I do not say this out loud, but this is an internal monologue. I would much rather rip my skin off than share a bed with somebody right now, but...
Delta Green, that can be arranged.
Ha!
Careful what you wish for.
Is there a couch in the room at least?
Oh, sugar, no, I'm quite sorry. It's not that level of establishment.
Oh.
2 double beds.
The one room will be fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an idea how long you'll be staying?
About a week.
Oh, excellent. Well, that means I can give you the weekly rate. It would be $30 a night. So what was that, $210 plus the normal taxes? We'll be paying with cash or card.
Cash. And I pull out like a little, it's not quite like a checkbook, but it's also not like a money clip. It's some weird sort of thing that obviously was made. And I just start pulling out 20s and then slide them across the table.
She collects the money, and it's almost like a kindergarten shuffle, right? Just kind of like pulling it all together, and then you hear like the pa-ching as she opens up the cash register and puts it inside. Starts hitting the receipt, kind of like the receipt printer next to it is the kind that like goes bit by bit. So like you push the button, and it makes that like screeching old technology sound as the first line prints off. And she's okay. And what name shall I put you under there, darling?
My God, I don't have a first name.
I don't have a first name. You can.
Sarah.
Joel.
Sarah North is fine.
Sarah North, and I mean, you all vouch for these good people with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, all right, Miss North. Here is your room key. She reaches out, hands it out to you. It'll be on the second floor, about midway down the hall. If you're looking for places to eat in the area, I can recommend you some restaurants, but this is a small town, so things tend to get quiet about 9 or 10 o'clock, and you'll kind of want to have sorted things by then. Convenience store, of course, is available if you'd like some things to come on. The room is equipped with a microwave, so you have that to look forward to.
The joys of modern conveniences.
Totally.
And your extraterrestrial friend here, and she gestures over to those wooden racks that every hotel has with local pamphlets and instructions, and it is just overflowing with very dated UFO enthusiast material, like printed on a home printer, but an inkjet, like the old HPs, folded up, just like trifold together with like MS Paint kind of graphics on it.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
Did you make them?
Yeah.
Oh.
No. Yeah, and like they've even been there a while, right?
Light has made all the ink fade away.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Agent Southerland is like, we'll look over at him and just kind of like, we'll just set his stuff down on the floor. Like, you ever have that friend, like everyone's checking in and they just drop their bags and walk away?
All of you to assume that I travel with friends.
Well, I do that. And we'll go over and start just kind of like, I'm just scanning through the pamphlets, and he would probably grab a dozen of the most interesting looking ones if there were that many.
I don't know if interesting is the right word. In your esteemed mind, well trained by the U.S. Academy, this is all pretty sensationalist. Yeah,
it's nonsense.
I mean, when there's like one of them, just like a calendar of the best days to see UFOs, and then there's someone advertising the crop circle tour, and like just based on this, it's pretty obvious that some of this is just like a farmer who's really into showing tourists the shit he beat down in his own field. It intersects with like just the generic level of like black helicopters kind of conspiracy.
It's super like the kind of magazines that are at the checkout of the grocery store. Like, it's just absolute nonsense. Cool. I will. Yeah, I don't think want to just
Bat Boy, because that's copyright. But
I think he would just, if they all look like nonsense, he would just kind of pluck like 3, like the crop circles, the one with the calendars, like weird days, and then just one where like some guys like they abducted me, or any of them where someone's like, I got probed, I'm looking for that. I want that pamphlet.
Yeah, no, nothing there about getting probed.
Okay.
I think that's a different kind of magazine than this town would
be all right with.
But
you don't know.
You know what? You're right. That was me being making assumptions and being prejudiced. At least they don't advertise it in their one hotel.
Right on.
It just made me think of like a UFO enthusiast version of Tinder. What do you call it, like Prober or something?
Yeah, that's an awesome idea. You should trademark it right now.
I'm just imagining what their logo would be. But all of that said, yeah, the material, it just pretty much leans into the mythology of the area. So
cool.
In the way you would expect tourist trappy to go.
Yep, I'll just pocket a few.
Well, I say we get our stuff and we go to the room, and then we make our plan.
Set up our own little red string board in the room.
Mm-hmm. You have all looked into the book and you know what equipment that your characters usually carry with them or have access to, but I think the game just assumes red string and big corkboard. Everyone gets one of those, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, at this point, I will ask for two things. One, which of you has the highest awareness?
Alertness?
Yeah.
Mine's 80.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I have a 40.
I have 50.
I have a 20. It's not me.
It's really
a long
easy.
shot, then.
Yeah, it's really easy to pay attention to things when you don't have to worry about interacting with people. So you get really good at it.
Well, then, while you're watching, while you're not watching, your friends recollect themselves and go on. I will ask you this question: if a hotel, in theory, is almost fully booked, what are some things you would expect to see?
Well, first off, cars in the parking lot. No keys on the board. Probably just like a ledger that has, information with a bunch of names in it. Like she took down our names with like recent dates, things like that.
Well, I will give you some of this for free. The rest I'm going to have you roll for, because there aren't enough cars in the parking lot to explain this place being booked out. There, you can see on the board how many keys there are. And there's your car and maybe two others. So unless like the other 14 people all came in the same car, which Groversville's a UFO town, like the clown town is a couple counties over. So that doesn't make any sense. That in of itself is kind of weird, but if you will roll alertness for me, we'll see if you got a good look at that guest book.
7.
Well, look at you. There are only 2 people who have signed in recently. And because I wasn't expecting you to go down that route, I am currently stalling to find their names. One is Scott Adams. That name probably not going to mean anything to any of you off the top of your heads, but keep it back in your nugget. The other one, and this is the one that I actually had to go and look, was her name. Okay, this might not be it. And if I do, I will correct it later. Nope, I'm right. Is Jane Allen.
Should we know that name?
No, but
Okay, cool. I mean, noted, right?
Yeah, Jane Allen and Scott Adams. 2 people.
When did they sign in?
Within the last week. Mr. Adams has been there the longest, like 7 or 8 days. It looks like Miss Jane Allen doesn't give you a super good time frame in the book, but it would have been 5 or 6 days ago.
Okay.
The important part there is that both of them checked in before your friend Billy Ray decided to get punchy across state lines.
I just want to confirm, you said 5 or 6 days ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because 6 days ago he had returned home, and 4 days ago was when he started punching. So
yeah, that is the window in which Jane Allen checked in, but Scott Adams has been here a little bit longer than that.
Got it.
It is the future, though. I mean, not like the literal future, but it's 10 minutes past now is when this game takes place. So, not unreasonable to say that in town, there's probably cell phone service. You wanted to Google those names, that would be reasonable. And if you were to do that, Jane Allen doesn't give you fucking anything. But Scott Adams is a very prolific UFO newsletter author who runs what is considered to be the most prestigious UFO newsletter in the entire state of Tennessee.
I'm in awe that we are such we are in the presence of such luminaries. Not realistically, but I'm just amazed more of that it's a thing that can, when you find out there's a hobby, and then within the hobby there's smaller groups, and within those smaller groups there's like the one guy who's the loudest guy. We found the loud guy, and I'm excited, mostly because I'm like, if I was ever gonna get into this stuff, this is the guy you need to talk to.
Well, I don't know. Are you allowed to go like straight to the top when you come into a new hobby? Like when you jump on Twitter, and you're like, I'm going to play RPGs. I know who I'll be friends with. Gary Gygax. Well, no, Gary Gygax is unfortunately passed, but something equivalent, right?
Doesn't hurt to try. Most of the time, nothing's going to happen, but it never hurts to try.
You gotta shoot your shot, right? That's what they say.
I don't know a ton about Scott Adams, which is a lie. I know a lot about him. But if you didn't know a ton about Scott Adams or ufologist, I would say he's probably actually going to be super thrilled to talk to anybody about this.
Yeah, doesn't sound like he gets out much.
I've never met a UFO enthusiast. If we have one in the audience or in chat, please contact me. Tell me what it's like. I would love to represent you like authentically in this space. But based on what I know of them and what it says about Scott Adams, I'm the kind of guy really easy to get enthusiastic about the subject.
So we're in our room now, yeah? Our single room, or are we still in the lobby?
No, it doesn't matter to me. If you want to go up into the room.
Let's go to the room.
Yeah, that's good.
It is defined by, I would say, 3 major appliances. There is a 24-inch television, probably purchased in the late 90s. You do have a microwave, but it's the kind that doesn't have an actual touchpad. It's got the turning knob that you have to set between 0 and 60 for the number of minutes. Fun story, we had one of those when I was a child, and I thought it was seconds, so I tried to cook food for 60 seconds and ended up almost burning the house down.
Nice.
Those 2 things, and also, if you traveled any distance on a highway, you will eventually run into the shitty hotel air conditioner, the one that sits right below the window and makes the floor a little soggy and is very, very loud. You'll be asleep in the middle of the night, or it'll just be sounding like someone has started up a chainsaw in your room. That is what you have to look forward to. The beds are at least decent. I mean, they were probably really, really nice when they were purchased. A little saggy, broken down, but I mean, that's fine.
Real quick question, a little bit unrelated to exactly where we are. Do we have like a copy of the city, like I know in the player's world we have a map, but do our characters have an access to local areas?
I'm sure there's one of those in the wooden thing where Agent Southerland.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never.
I want to take that.
And have one.
Yeah, I want to make sure I take one before we got to the hotel room, because I'm looking at our map and I'm like, there's some places I want to visit. Also, why is Merle's name everywhere?
That is a question that I can answer for you if you find the kind of person who might know the answer to that question.
As kind of Agent Sutherland's unpacking like his bag, like drops his like luggage into like a random corner, he kind of sits onto a bed and tests the spring on it. He goes, it's not that bad. I mean,
the entire thing goes the whole time.
I think it just dawned on me. Do we know? I think maybe we should talk also to Spivey's wife. Right? It was
his mother. Angela Spivey is his mother.
Right, the mother and the father was Punch, right?
She's definitely on the short list.
Yeah,
difficult to get in contact with right now, but the mother for sure.
Sure, definitely, yeah.
Do you have a Ouija board in there, or?
No, but I was thinking we could knock on the door and ask nicely, some questions. A lot of times people just need just someone to ask, so maybe we
have you ever pretended to be literally anything that you're not? We have a cover, we have a reason to be here. We have a reason to talk to her. We don't have to play nice. We can say, hello, ma'am. We are here on official business. Are you willing to talk to us?
He kind of presses his lips a little bit and goes, okay.
Yeah.
I think we need to find...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was saying we should definitely check in with the sheriff. And
Sheriff Dan.
see if anything has come up, and especially if they're a local, they may know more about like who Spivey spent a lot of time around, and anything else background on Spivey that might tell us anything that happened to him.
He might give us more information about the group of people that Spivey ran around with. I assume in a place like this, there's probably 200 folks, so everyone kind of knows everybody.
Everyone knows everybody.
Yep.
And
Well,
they're not
let's-
going to be the most trusting of outsiders.
We do have the advantage that we can just look like a bunch of UFO nuts. So us being nosy isn't the strangest thing to them. So Southerland, you're kind of my go-to guy for this. You're going to have to, and for the most part, if someone asks why we're asking questions, you just start listing off facts. I don't care what it is. I could care less. Just tell them anything to get them off our back. Okay?
Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Perfect.
Well, we have a couple options. Mrs. Spivey and the sheriff, the two that are coming up most often. How's about this? Let us settle in for a nice 10-15 minute break. We can recharge our little body batteries, do a little thinking, come back, and tell the rest of that story. Does that sound good to y'all?
Sounds
good to
great.
me.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, folks in the audience, hang tight. We will be back in just a little bit with more of Delta Green Convergence.
Scott, it's fun, isn't it?
They are the angels, brought and held together as children by their status as outcasts and freaks. Imaginative and tormented, Thomas has suffered greatly under the care of his foster family. How far would you go for release, for salvation?
Goth culture was the perfect escape for young, rebellious Gabrielle. Now she's traded her innocence for alcohol, tattoos, and an abusive ex.
Michael couldn't fight his way out of that basement, and he's been doubling down on violence ever since. When being strong isn't enough, where else do you go?
Teenage Tarla leaned hard into the outcast persona, using her hair as a mood ring. Now she's buried trauma, and with it, the capacity to love and trust.
Ralph wasn't always a conspiracy-obsessed deep web denizen. What happened that turned a fantasy-loving book nerd into something much, much worse?
Will these bonds hold true when they're reunited for sinister purpose in adulthood? Find out in His Last Hope, a story of lost friendships and childhood traumas for Cult Divinity Lost.
Welcome back. We all had a good break. Everyone is having a good time, at least that's what they told me. My human skill is not high enough to tell if they are lying. We are back with Convergence, Delta Green, and if the discussion during the break was to be believed, our next step is with the sheriff, yes?
Yep.
Correct.
Sheriff Dan Oakley. I know it came up earlier. I forget who mentioned it. Someone said if he's a local guy, but I mean, this is rural Tennessee. It's definitely local. This is the kind of department where the only way to get on is to be the sheriff, and the sheriff has been the sheriff for like the last 40 years, or to be related to the sheriff or good buddies with the sheriff. You can expect that kind of small town bureaucratic system. You have the map of the town, both literally in front of you as characters, thanks to Agent Eastman yoinking that map out of the wooden rack. And you also have one in the chat. So it will not be hard for you to make your way to the sheriff's office. Do you want to drive, or are you content walking and enjoying the nice midsummer Tennessee afternoon?
That doesn't sound fun, though, because I live in that like general vicinity. I know what those summer afternoons are like. They're not fun.
I would say, for sake of, speediness, and if we need to get out and go somewhere, let's take the car.
Yeah.
That would be my choice, but I like giving my players options, even if it's one of them is clearly the worst option. So into the car we pile, and off to the sheriff's office we go. I have 2 questions. 1, who's going to do the introduction talky bits? And 2, are you going to stick to your cover story?
Oh, I was
I'm willing-
absolutely. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, cover story, let's keep it. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
keep the cover
Agent
story.
North and Agent North and I are like fully like, we don't need to break this. The doctor I trust is good for this.
Mhm.
Sutherland, you know what? Like I like the energy Sutherland's bringing. Let's keep it up. And I mean, I'm kind of built to be a people person,
Yeah, no, it was
So-
just you.
so I'll do it.
I mean,
will
I guess
blow
if you're worried about, feelings instead of business, but fine.
He's in the business of feelings.
A level of professionalism can come from both understanding your client and your objective. My client in this case Sheriff Dan. My objective, find out what the hell is going on here.
I think you should lead. You have a strong presence, and I'm a terrible liar. So
That's the beauty. I don't need you to really lie. I need you to almost be uncomfortably truthful about like
Great.
what your interests are.
I love that for me. Thank you.
And I mean, with our cover story, it makes sense you would bring a doctor.
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, like, if this is, I do not know, I'm not really up on my list of like dangerous cartels. But if you're thinking this is like Zeta PCP smuggled across the border by the Mexican commando mafia, then having an anthropologist along to like, sort out the symbols and track down which specific variant of organized crime you're dealing with, then, makes some sense. But let us begin there, where you proceed to the sheriff's office. There is no receptionist because this town is not that big. It's more like the place where the cops go and there's a drunk tank for the locals, but it's just, like Wild West bars, that kind of thing. There's an armory, it's locked, but for the most part, it just kind of looks more like a way station, the place to keep the cars, and if you need to lock someone up, I guess. The sheriff is on duty. As we mentioned, he's expecting you, so he will be there. You can identify him by A, him being the only person in the sheriff's office now, B, the big old sheriff's badge because it's a small town, and C, if you draw into your mind a picture of a rural Tennessee sheriff, he meets it to a T. We are talking round, boisterous, used to be a linebacker, then kept eating that much, but stopped working out that much. Very good old boys, network, round kind of man. The most significant crime that he has to deal with is going, breaking up a party with the kids. This is not the kind of town where you need to be chasing people down on foot. And Sheriff Oakley proves that point. So you approach this badged and supremely well belt-buckled man as he sits behind the desk that would be for the receptionist with his boots kicked up on it. As he sees you enter, he immediately begins to compose himself.
Hello, Sheriff Dan Oakley, I presume?
I apologize right now to all of our Southern viewers. Yep. Got the right man. Sheriff Dan Oakley, nice to meet you. He stands up, proceeds over, just sausage-fingered hand thrust in your direction for...
I grab it enthusiastically, shake it up and down. I understand what this is. This is not only just a greeting. This is like we're getting each other's vibe. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, who is this man? Who is this man? I think I got it.
A good 20-second handshake as you just continue to... Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm Agent Eastman. Nice to meet you. Good to meet you, sir. I'm with me is Agent North, Dr. West, and Agent Southerland. And still shaking his hand enthusiastically.
Still shaking the hand, yeah. Oh, nice to meet you. I'm surprised they sent this many people. I mean, I understand you got some business, but plenty of local folk would help. But still, we appreciate your willingness to investigate. Sir, turns to Agent Southerland, ma'ams, to the other two. I'm afraid from the call that I got from boys in Memphis, there wasn't a whole lot of information that I'm able to give you. They say you're looking into some kind of drug problem, yeah?
That's about the long and short of it. We suspect some shady folks have brought something to your nice little town here, and we're trying to make sure it's not going to spread any farther, and maybe we can find out where they're going.
Well, you'll have all that fancy intel and that post 9/11, all your NSA thing. But I mean, I tell you what, Groversville is the kind of town where people know people. And if there were a bunch of smugglers or cartel folks hiding around here, someone would have said something. There ain't no barn here that's abandoned that no one drives by, and I haven't seen anything about that. I'm not trying to tell you how to do your business, but I don't think you're going to find too much on that route. However, as a duly empowered law enforcement agent who respects the rule of law in this country, I'm more than happy to help you out in any way that I can.
I'm so happy to hear that. Well, I think what we need from you, sir, I'm sure you've heard of Billy Ray and his situation.
Oh yeah, terrible business. I mean, whether kid killing his father, that's it's kind of stuff. That's not a Groversville way to do thing. I mean, Shelbyville, those
No.
people, yeah, but
Shelby, write that down, someone. Now, I guess the reason I ask, we assume that this young man was quite popular in the area, and we'd like to talk to some of his friends, just see if there's anything shady going on. Like you said, most people know people, so maybe one of them can give us some bit of information,
yeah. I mean, all the young folk kind of run together. If you're not into that crowd, you're going to spend a lot of time alone here. As for where to find them, there's only really two places that they congregate, if they're congregating at all. I mean, we haven't seen much of them. It's been a mess with Billy Ray. People honestly heartbroken. Didn't expect to die out of that kid. But if you were looking to do some questioning, I would say shortly before night kicks off, you can normally find them near Merle's Country Bunker, picking up a couple takeout beers, things like that, grabbing a sixer. And then depending on the weather, they're allowed to be up by the reservoir or at one of their houses. At least those are the two places I got to chase them out of most often. When drinking gets a little too rowdy, you got to go. He taps his nightstick on his hip, bring in the law.
Absolutely understand. Great information. Team, is there anything else that we might want to ask real quick before we start? Just get a preliminary look of things.
I don't know if this is a possibility, but I wanted to kind of scan over just like the space, like the walls or desks. I have a pretty decent search stat, but I don't know how to ask for the ability to do that.
Oh, no. I mean, that's about the gist of it. Can I search this joint? I will tell you that regardless of your skill, it looks pretty... I mean, first of all, there's not a lot of decor in the first place. This is very much a low-budget municipal agency. It doesn't look messy, doesn't look disturbed, kind of business as usual. Bare
bones, kind of. They operate their hours and nothing really... goes amiss, more or less.
I'd say being this part of the country, the only thing that would probably stand out to you is that at most county law enforcement agencies, they will have a picture of the president and the vice president on the wall. And for some reason, I'm sure they've just forgotten about it. For some reason, they have not updated those photos since the last election. Right but I'm sure someone's getting to it.
Just haven't gotten to it yet, probably.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if any autopsies or anything have been performed on the two unfortunate victims yet, or if you have a coroner that I can just get their notes and make sure that what we're seeing here matches what we already have in our notes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I understand how you might want to get into that. I'm not much of a doctor person myself, but we had old man Willis come down and do the autopsy. He's referring to the local coroner. I can get you those reports.
Do you all collectively call him Old Man Willis, or is that?
Oh no, Willie Willis and I, we go way back. I played football with him back in high school. Just call him Old Man because he's a year older than us. Got held back before he went off to medical school and things like that. It just shows you can turn your brain around with all kinds of hard work. But no, ma'am, I can get you that paperwork for you, no problem.
Thank you.
How well did you know Billy Bray?
Well, I mean, I won't say I was especially close with him, but I mean, you get to know everyone in this town. We all do. Nice boy. Kind of sticks around town. You get some people, they grow up around here and then they go off to college. They get all fancy and they want to go back to the big cities. They almost come back to Groversville. But Billy was a good old local boy. Never ran into too much trouble. Normal stuff, catching him out in a car with his girlfriend, that kind of thing. Of course, drinking and all that stuff. But nothing unusual for the town.
Nothing that would have stood out from the last couple weeks.
Yeah, no. God, coming up in that minute, you see, he went missing, and his parents originally just thought that he was out, going to find him passed out in his car out somewhere, like you do. But when he was gone for a couple days, they made that report, and then sure as shit, so first time they came down here calling us, talking to us, and then he reappeared pretty short after, saying he had no recollection where he'd been. And at that point, it's not really a police issue, it's a medical issue, which is why they went to the doctor. And then, oh man, what happened to his father? No one saw that coming.
Is the doctor the same one as the coroner, or is that a different person? Because I also, if I can talk to them and get any notes they had on Billy Ray's condition as well, that could also help.
Oh yeah. My old man Will is the only one around here who could do that kind of thing. We got a vet, but you don't want to take a kid to see that one's that sick. I can put you in touch with him. Yeah, no, for sure. I'll get you that stuff, and it's got his number on it. You can just call him at your leisure. I doubt he's up too much right now.
Thank you.
There was another question that one of you asked that I missed. What was it? I think Jojo, you asked if you had a girlfriend.
No, it was Eastman.
I was going to ask, do we have a girlfriend to talk to?
Oh, well, he's been around. What was her name? Another one. I think Jane Allen was the last one who he'd spent some time with. I haven't seen her in a while, actually. I'm guessing that after what happened with that, she's been spending some time to herself. But they've been together, I want to say about a year and a half, 2 years now.
Jane Allen.
Yeah.
Local gal?
Oh yeah, Dad Marty. He runs a nice little farm about 15 minutes out of town. Good soybean crop recently, yeah.
Why?
Wait.
Just out of sheer curiosity, do people that live in this town often go stay at Merle's Shut-Eye for one reason or another, or is that kind of just people traveling through go to the Shut-Eye?
Gotta tell you straight up, ma'am, it's not really something I keep much of an eye on. Every town needs a hotel, especially once this UFO stuff's been taken off. Had a lot of people like that, but I mean, if someone wants to stay there, it's not something we worry about unless there's some kind of dispute or again, people getting rowdy. But why ask?
I just trying to get the lay of the land, just trying to figure out if staycations are a thing, or if we should be looking into, as we're following this lead, if people would use the motel as some sort of cover.
You say staycation and you just see a switch flip in his brain from someone I should trust to fucking millennials. Like he just, every bad Facebook boomer meme about millennials, he has just like pay. I bet you want to get paid $15 an hour minimum wage and have health insurance, and you like immediate sour mood change when you say staycation.
Just slow through this scene, please. Getting my poor heart. Kidding, I'm fine, but that hurts. But yes, it's not uncommon in our line of business for folks, especially if we're looking into what we're assuming these drugs are. It's not uncommon for folks in the area to use a local motel as cover. That's why I'm asking.
Well, with your fancy Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice or whatever it happens to be informing your decision, I will trust your judgment. But to my knowledge, there is no drug smuggling ring currently holed up in Merle's hotel.
It wouldn't be holed up in his hotel, but thank you.
I bet she voted for Clinton. I bet she would.
Was not old enough to vote for Clinton, but thank you.
He doesn't care. You would have. That's enough for him.
Yeah, it would have.
Back when he went through his law enforcement training, was good enough to know how to break someone with a nightstick and be respected in the community. Didn't need all this sensitivity training and body cameras. Pfft. Anyway, that's the kind of person you're dealing with. What else do you have?
Yeah,
for good old Sheriff Oakley?
Have you done a formal investigation of what happened at Billy Ray's home?
Well, that's normally our purview, but we had barely managed to get the investigating with his mother gotten her statement, and then you federales found Billy Ray across state lines, and at that point all the tape came in, all the orders and such. So we haven't made any more progress in that area. No.
I just wanted to make sure that I've been given all the facts, and maybe that nothing's been omitted. And I'm kind of trying to make sure. Like, I don't think this is a very cunning or smart man, but I don't think it's above him to be like, oh, these folks don't need to know anything about such and such or doing what and what. That's not part of their business. So I'm just kind of looking for that.
I mean, you have an astoundingly good human. This is your thing, and he doesn't seem like he's hiding anything. I mean, there might be a lie of omission based on the fact that he doesn't have a ton of brain cells to spare for random facts. But as far as you can tell, he's being forthright with you.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Yeah, he's honestly trying to help. It's just that your idea of what's important and his idea of what's important might not line up, and like, even if you turn the conversation to Angela, he's more concerned with how she's holding up as like a town member as opposed to like a victim of a crime, that kind of thing.
Great. I mean, I suppose we already have the Spivey address, so we don't need to get that from him. I am totally fine to go whenever. I don't need to keep talking to this man.
There's nothing else that I need from him.
Well, Sheriff, thank you kindly. I think we have what we need. We'll be in the area. We're at I forgot our motel's name.
Merle's Shut-Eye?
Merle's Shut-Eye, yes. The one place that people who don't live here can stay. Yeah, that's where we are.
You could just say the motel if you need us. Yeah. We don't have to specify.
Yeah. But you can find us there if you need us. If you excuse us, I think we're going to be on our way.
Oh yeah, just let me get that paperwork, Doctor Ma'am, and I'll set you all off. The autopsy report is it's going to be unsatisfying. I am not a doctor myself, but like whatever the medical term for fucking punch the fucking chest is, like that is what it is. Like it just like a blunt trauma through this, and it's so obvious that like the doctor has no idea how this could have been the case, right? Like he's just filling in the boxes that make the most sense based on the circumstances, but because there is no like, oh yeah, he had sudden chest collapse when punched syndrome, obviously, like there's nothing to do there. So it's very medical, and lays out what essentially you already knew with no possible explanation for it. But you do get Old Man Willis's phone number on it. It's got his office phone number, his business card, and then on the back he scribbled down his mobile, just in case someone needs to get a hold of him. Because you had mentioned when you talked to him about the original sickness and things like that.
Yeah, that was definitely something at some point, is to call and just get like, okay, what are the symptoms that you noticed? Like what was going on? Any of that. So at least for my notes, and maybe it'll mean things down the line.
For sure. If there's nothing else, then you are released from the custody of the local sheriff. Again, as you're leaving, another handshake, good 15-20 seconds. All kinds of normal, like, you know, good masculine bro to bro law enforcement, we're the thin blue line, kind of keeping this town together rhetoric. And then he wishes you on your way. Call me if you need anything. Which leaves us with two, I think, new avenues. One that I believe Agent North picked up on is that Jane Allen is one of the people at the hotel. And then second, Dr. West, if you would like to, what is the word, to not collaborate. They don't use that word when doctors do it. I want to check in with Dr. Willis regarding the sickness. We can do that as well. Yeah. And then, of course, you also have Angela still on the list, Mrs. Spivey.
I mean, we can split the party, right?
Doesn't matter to me at all.
It would cover more ground.
do we just like make sure that we all have a way to get in contact with each other, like when we figure things out, or if something happens and we need help?
What could happen?
I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine.
Well, I'm more than happy to split the party. The question I have is who goes where?
I will go. It's like a weekday, right?
Yeah.
So, you know,
It's a Tuesday.
it's just Tuesday. More likely than not, hopefully the doctor is at his office. So that's where I would suggest suggest I go. If anybody wants to go with me.
For what it's worth, you can call him. You don't have to go.
Okay.
If it matters to you, if you want to be in person, fine. But if you don't want to go, then you can just call him.
This is true.
Yep. Question?
Go ahead.
The time of day is?
Early afternoonish. Call it 3 o'clock, 3:30, maybe 4.
Okay, because if this is correct, and I guess I could say this in character, hey, I noticed that the sheriff noticed that I think it was Merrill's County bunker sounds like a good place to catch some local people. I find people are usually more comfortable in their home environment, so people might be more receptive to talking to us there. But he said that doesn't really get going until 6. So we've got a little time to kill, but I thought that would be a really good opportunity to maybe have a larger sample group of people to talk to and maybe kind of get a better feel for the cultural identity of this town, and maybe kind of gestures kind of over towards the doors that we just came from. It's just sometimes better so you know the sensitivities of the local area and to be cognizant of hot button issues. So I would like a buddy to the bar, please, at some point.
Well, like you said, we got some time for that.
And we have to eat at some point.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am hungry, definitely. Yeah. I only had a Cliff Bar in the car on the way in, so I'm famished, actually.
Well, I hope you like greasy fucking diner food. 'Cause
I do.
I subsist
Decided.
entirely on hot chip. So
Mm,
it's just
mhm.
give me flaming hot Cheetos, Takis, whatever. I'm fine.
And you have a microwave in case you want to do something fancy, really treat yourself.
Yeah, you know.
Your microwave
Alright.
mozzarella sticks, the absolute nightmare experience that is. It's the,
Oh my God.
the letdown of the lifetime.
Listen, I'm a
Are
government
Takis-
agent. Just cover it in government cheese. That's all you do. Just cover everything in government cheese.
Are Takis the one you can put in your fingers?
No,
No.
those are
Oh.
Bugles?
bugles.
Yeah,
yep.
bugles.
Those are the
Do
ones
they-
you put
do
on
they
your
make
fingers.
hot chip bugles?
Well, now I want them to.
Probably.
Well, stay with me
I
on this
can-
because what I'm thinking is you take the mozzarella stick, you put the stick in the thing, you microwave that, and now you have hot chip parmesan.
This is the true horror in Delta
This is the-
Green.
this is the mistake. Yeah, the-
agent
the-
food combinations. It's not. It's
The
not
monster-
the Cthulhu. It's not the mythos. It's
Mhm.
this right now. It's this conversation.
The monster actually we created it, and it comes out of the microwave.
Yeah. You were the monster the whole time.
Agent Eastman, I did not mean to interrupt you. Were you onto something there? Because I was just shit posting on it now.
No. So I'm just trying to think of what would be optimizing our time, because we
Mhm.
have a couple hours before people are going to show up at the bunker. If we want to investigate the reservoir, they're probably not going to be there till later tonight either. So, I mean, if we want to split up, go see the doctor, and then maybe Angela. This might be a good time to go see her.
I was actually
don't-
thinking that I need to. I would like to head back to the hotel, the motel. It's don't call it a hotel because it is not.
No.
Because I would like to look into Jane Allen. Why would she be staying at the motel? That wouldn't. So this would be a thing that I would share with you after the fact. When the girlfriend's name comes up, and why I kind of brought up the whole thing about do people stay at the motel? Because you guys did not see that name and it didn't matter at the time, so I would not have shared it. But I would like to go and try and talk to Jane Allen. If she checked into the hotel 5-6 days ago, right around the time he came back, maybe she knew where he was before that, or maybe she's, maybe suffering from the same sort. I don't know. But I'd like to go talk to her.
Well,
do we have the address of the farm, or at least could we get there?
Where Spivey lives?
No, didn't you say that her dad has a farm?
Oh yeah. I mean, you could get it when you got the directions from the sheriff. He's like, oh, it's 15 minutes that way, and you turn left at the old oak, that one. But you could get that more information if you needed to. So time wise, yes, you're correct. The country bunker is and as driving around, you might have actually seen it. It's more like a kind of like diner / convenience store / leather shop, right? Like all the normal business you would expect. Not, oh my god, you perverts.
What happened? I missed it.
I'm talking about belts and buckles and boots, like country feed
all
store.
the same stuff I'm talking about, Aaron. What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You are all grounded.
Are we not talking about boots?
I was talking about boots, belts. I mean, it all. Honestly, none of this is inappropriate. I think you're the one that has the.
Yeah.
No, I saw the face V made, and I'm not going to let her pretend to be innocent in this moment. She stared right into my soul and was like, "Leather, you say?" But it's a kind of an all-purpose shop. In the same way, like when you're on like I-80, the truck stop that has like all the things smashed together. That's what the country bunker kind of like. Correct in that it will not be populated by folks until later in the night, but that's folks either grabbing dinner there or just swinging in long enough to pick up beer after work and head somewhere else. So in terms of catching folks, would lean more towards the reservoir on that one. If you want to go back to the hotel just to reconvene and sort things out, that makes sense. You only have one car, so
yeah.
And Aubrey, Dr. West, in your case, it doesn't really matter where you go because you can call the doctor.
Yeah, I can just call him and ask him to send his notes to me.
So would you be okay with everyone going back to the hotel? You can let Agent North sate her curiosity. Dr. West can make her phone call. And then once those things are settled, you can all go off in the car to the next thing. Does that?
Sure, that's fine. I mean, it also, on the map, it also looks like the shut-eye motel and the sheriff's office are like 2 blocks from each other. So
everything in this town is fucking 2 blocks from everything else in this town.
I know, I'm realizing. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that.
If Jane Allen may be experiencing some of the same things that Billy Ray was experiencing, I would definitely like to be there to have hands-on, and be able to get more than just a small town doctor's notes.
Yeah, let's go back to the motel.
Motel.
Every time you say hotel, I'm sorry, motel, my brain goes Holiday Inn.
Say what?
Alrighty then. I apologize, I'm entirely too white to make that joke. But we arrive back at the hotel, the motel.
Holiday Inn.
I'm not. I can do it.
It's not even a question. It's also not even a question of being white. I'm just not cool enough. It wouldn't matter what So we arrive back there. The woman behind the counter, of course, more just joyous. She is so happy to see you. I hope you're enjoying our town. Agent North, this is kind of your thing. Are you going to ask anything to her about this, or are you just like straight upstairs?
Oh, I mean, when I saw the ledger earlier, did I happen to see what room Jane Allen was in?
Sure.
Great. Then I think I'll wait to ask her any questions until we see what the situation with Jane Allen is. Like, if Jane Allen's not in her room and, we do that whole thing, then I could come and ask, but I don't want to, give any information ahead of time.
Okay. Yeah, it's not that many rooms down from where you are, because like it fucking can't be. This place isn't that big. The door is locked. Assuming if you were going to be the kind of person who just like jiggles the handle before you knocked, I'll just give you that information for free. And as you knock, no sound from inside.
I'll knock a little harder and I'll say, police?
It no sounds a little harder, right back at you.
Great. Okay. Sorry, I alt-tabbed and I could not get back into the Zoom call to unmute myself. I'm so sorry. What's the skill for what skill would I use if I wanted to try and, I don't know, lock pick a door?
Lockpicking is a specially trained skill. Delta Green accepts that like you have dexterity, but being dexterous does not let you pick locks. So if you can tell me why an intelligence weenie would have trained themselves in lockpicking, then we can go there. That said, there are other people in the class who might have a skill that would help there.
Well, if somebody else in the class does, that would be totally fine. If not, I assumed that I learned how to lockpick in the same class that I learned how to be incredibly stealthy. It's part of special training. It's part of information gathering. It's reconnaissance. It's like, it's all part of it.
Well, in that case, then you would roll dexterity.
Great.
Yeah, I don't think I could do medicine on the door to lockpick it.
I mean, you tell me an interesting enough story. I mean, we might get there, but
I'm all face. I can't. No help.
I only got an 82, which is not great because my dexterity is 55.
Yeah, that's not great by quite a ways. Suffice it to say, we might be reaching the point where you need to try to doctor the door because it's not getting.
Southerland, do you have anything?
Can I push it?
The risk there would be that it would be loud and obvious. One of those things. You could either make it very clear to anyone in the adjacent rooms that you were opening this door forcefully. I mean, not like kicking it down, but you know what I mean. Or that anyone who looks at it in the future would know that it had been picked.
Okay. I think if nobody else can do anything, I'm guessing by the confused look on Southerland's face that he does not have anything that he can use.
I check my bag and I have sunscreen and a couple of Cliff Bars.
Do the thing with like the credit card to try to like unlock the door.
So he'll look into his bag and goes, I can like try to like shake it, like jimmy it. No, I can't do anything. I don't have anything cool, guys.
Yeah.
Well, we've tried the lock picking part. So if you want to go down that route, we have to push the roll. Otherwise, the game devolves into, well, fuck it, everyone roll dexterity.
Yeah.
The law of averages says that it eventually works, which is not
Nothing in particular. Nothing in particular.
What?
Luckily, it's the problem with these doors is that they're a little bit older, and I've been trained on more sophisticated locks. So sometimes there's just you're so used to the hard stuff that the easy stuff just eludes you. But fine, that's okay. I'm just gonna go use my cover and go speak to the beautiful lady, the wonderful lady at the desk, and just tell her, after speaking to the sheriff, it's part of our thing. My friend here is here for the UFOs, but I'm actually here on official federal business, and I need to gain access to that room because obviously she has a skeleton key.
Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. But the question that's going to come back from this woman is that they're pretty up on police procedure. Actually, like she watches a lot of Law and Order. I mean, like literally just binges it over and over and over again. And she knows that she can't just go letting law enforcement root around in people's private property unless you have evidence that a crime has been committed or a warrant.
Wow, we're really gonna do that then, huh?
Are you saying that to her? Because that will change.
No, I'm saying it to you.
Well, it's not for nothing that this woman might be persuadable, might be intimidatable. The point is that you're not going to get it for free.
Okay.
I want to try something, if able to. So with my Hume int of 80, what is my vibe off of her? What am I getting from her?
She means well. I mean, she mostly for her, she just doesn't want to get in trouble, like when it turns out that she let this happen. And I mean, also from watching a ton of Law and Order, she knows that the main plot hook they use over and over and over again was this evidence was obtained illegally. It's not admissible in court. And if there is a serial killer in that room, she doesn't want him going free because she spoiled the evidence.
I will mention, I'm a doctor. Maybe we're worried about this woman's health because she was, very close to Billy Ray, who is not doing so great. So we were worried that she may have done the same things that he did. And we just want to make sure that she's all right. And if there's anything we can do to that, she...
There's plenty of acceptable avenues. Regardless, someone will have to roll to either convince her or terrify her into going along with your plan.
And with my charisma of 9 and no abilities to talk to a human ever, I'm not the one to make those rolls.
I'm making that she's a human. Okay. That is actually a joke. Do not do player shit right now. I was just being funny. She is definitely a human. Hand to God. I regret putting that out into the universe already. Agent Eastman, you were saying.
I want to try and persuade her. So I have a persuasion of 80 as well. I really want to say I'm a face. That's my goal. But before I even try, I just want to kind of probe a little bit more information. Specifically, how often is the motel rooms, are they cleaned? And has that room been cleaned recently? Or has it just a do not disturb, no one's got in there for a while?
Definitely the latter, yeah. It's been do not disturb up. And as you interrogate that fact, she actually hasn't seen Jane come in or out the whole time.
Okay. So I guess how I want to... Oh, go ahead.
So sorry, just a small question. I mean, how long did she pay for the room?
About a week. So coming up soon.
Okay.
So the method I want to use to kind of persuade is we have been given some information from the sheriff that we do worry about her health, and because no one's visited her or been around her for, from what you said, no one's gone in and out, so we have to assume she's living off of nothing but hot chips. That's not good. Just nothing but hot chips. It's nothing but hot chips. Don't give me that look.
You're gonna get scurvy.
You will get scurvy. It's true.
Cookies with lime. That's a citrus.
Dr. West, can you confirm or deny that the lime flavoring in Takis is enough to stop you from getting scurvy?
Depends on how much you eat.
See?
Basically, we're acting on behalf of some federal agents, and we just mostly want to make sure we don't even have to go into the room. We just need to be able to peek at the room.
As Eastman is saying this, I kind of pipe up and I said, that's what they would call probable cause. And then I just kind of disappear back behind him.
All of this totally fair. Someone's still going to have to roll. So
roll your
Agent
dice.
Eastman,
roll
with
the person of 80. Go for it.
Oh, that face.
Oh no.
What did you roll?
I got an 87.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one good piece. The way that criticals work in this game, if you roll doubles, that makes it either a critical success or failure, depending on whether or not the roll would succeed or fail. So you were 1 point away from something very bad happening. You've managed to avoid that. Agent Southerland?
Yes. While we come back into the lobby, sometimes hotel lobbies have vending machines, I he's kind of the meandering, wandering sort. He's got a little bit of ADHD, and will just like he's looking around. Like he's just takes a little bit to adjust. So I would like to check out to see if there's a vending machine and see if there's anything that is been used, or like if there's been like maybe a particular favorite that our desk clerk is running low on stock, and maybe would be able to snag like a Twix bar or something to sweeten the deal as a lovable that he is.
The roll has failed, and you either have to push it or find another way through. As for what is in the vending machine, I will say that it looks pretty picked through. It's without any more context, going to be hard to tell whether it's because they just don't fill it up that often, or if someone is making a huge run on it. If you would like a Twix bar, the roll that we ask for there is luck, just plain 50-50 shot. Or no, you might have, 50-50 shot. There should not be a luck stat in this game. If
I do not have a luck stat, but I will roll for a Twix bar.
It's my fault. When you play so many different systems back to back to back, they all start to blur together. I'm like, can we do 0 points in Delta Green? No.
I rolled a 55. I don't believe. Yeah.
Well, no Twix bars. They are fresh out. They have other kind of chocolate confectionaries.
I hit D3 for whatever off-brand chocolate nougat is there that's probably been there for 7 years.
You might not know this, being not from the area, but the 7 Years Nougat Company makes an amazing actual local chocolate. So I don't know what you're expecting. If you are a nougat fan, you will be pleasantly surprised.
I'll pocket that one and walk over to Agent Eastman and Agent North.
Let me ask you this, V. If you're not able to get into the room, are there other avenues of curiosity that have opened up to you? Because something is amiss and you're sniffing on it, right? Like, these rooms are occupied, no one's coming in or out of them, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least Jane Allen isn't. So.
The room is on like a second floor, right?
Correct.
Okay. There's no peeking in windows.
I mean,
it depends on how.
That was not planned. That was not rehearsed. Aaron and I just are in each other's heads sometimes. I'm so sorry. That was very weird.
Play games with each other for 10 years.
Do we want to try getting in a window?
Window is great. We can go to the roof, and that's an option.
You can put it on the list. But what I was getting at is you can just ask the woman behind the counter questions that might lead to a direction that will help you. Because what you've articulated to me is like, I think Jane's in there and Jane isn't coming in or out. So Jane is either like already hoarding food or someone is feeding Jane, right? And you're trying to piece that together. So so earlier you said that, like, because I had made a comment about the keys on the wall, and you said, well, you can see how many keys are on the wall. How many keys are on the wall? You didn't actually give me a number, I'm realizing. Oh, because I didn't really care how many rooms are in the hotel. It's there's like 2 or 3 rooms that are empty. Sorry, there were 2 keys like left, and she said it was booked solid. So you get the one, and the one, who knows? Maybe it's just like broken or something. I don't know.
Okay, that was my question. Like, are there more keys than she's saying? Was kind of my question there.
No. Okay. The rooms have been rented. But the point that I made earlier was that there's not 70 cars, right? And the thing, well, that would be too many regardless. The hotel's not that big.
Hotel's not that big. Look, did we ever get her name?
No.
Great.
Is there not like a name tag on the desk or something, or on her shirt?
Sure. Do you have any suggestions? What would you name a 70-year-old or 65-year-old? Bertha, it is, yeah.
Obviously, she's Bertha.
I was going to go Myrtle, but Bertha, you know what?
Oh,
Player
Myrtle,
agency player,
but
you made your choice.
But yeah, you can't go Myrtle, because then it's Myrtle and Merle, and that just...
Okay.
That feels a little, maybe, I don't know. The alliteration.
Well, what's
feels-
Eastman's
no,
idea? Maybe we'll get something good.
Well, I was thinking Miriam, because this is like totally Courage the Cowardly Dog territory.
Sure, Miriam, there it is. Her friends can call her Miriam, but you're not her friends. So Miriam behind the desk.
Lovely. Look, Miriam, sure, we can't get into the room. You won't let us into the room. Fine, for now, until we get that warrant. But can you answer a couple questions about how many guests you have here, when you've had people check in, things like that? Would you feel comfortable answering those questions for us?
Oh yeah, please do understand. I'm not trying to impede your investigation or anything. It's just there's a lot riding on this if they've sent federal agents in, and I just want to do things by the book in case something goes wrong. But both for you, but also for me. I don't want to end up being the thing that spoils the case. I can see Dr. West thinking in the corner. What's going on?
I was gonna ask if we want to ask if anyone's been delivering food to her.
I mean, yeah, we can definitely go down that route. My first line of questioning was actually not specifically just about Jane. It was going to be about kind of the broader group of rooms that we have. And I kind of like gesture at her little ledger. You don't seem to have a lot of people coming in recently. Just a couple on your list, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean the rooms are occupied, but you know what it is. It's those UFO folks coming on through.
Sure. How long do these rooms get paid for? I mean, because obviously we pay in advance.
Yeah,
so.
we only allow people to book up to 7 days at a time. It's just easier for us to keep track of things. Now, if you plan on staying longer, you can absolutely renew that when we get to day 6 or 7, but it's just better for our bookkeeping and just keeping track of things.
So you've had all of these rooms fill up in the last 7 days?
Oh well, no. The gentleman who's staying with us from the Tennessee UFO Society, he's been here actually quite a bit longer, but he has booked additional rooms as time has gone on to fill with some of his for his friends to come through, and then also just he says he needs them for research materials, storage.
I want to put a pin in that real quick, just for everyone.
Yep. And Jane Allen, you haven't seen her since she first booked the room?
No, Jane. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't. Obviously, I don't work here the whole time. It's possible she's come out by night and whatever. I did see. Originally, she came in with Billy Ray shortly before the incident, and they were looking a bit worried. But then, Billy Ray, he went off and did what he did, and I haven't seen Jane since. No.
Oh wait, I'm so sorry. Just quickly returning to Billy Ray. He showed up when Jane booked the room, or a couple days after, before.
Oh no, they came together. It was looking in an awful spot. I don't know. Maybe they had a fight or something like that.
So they came together, and then he left and went home.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm making notes right now.
Something's fucky here.
Yeah, a little bit. You don't have any sorry, it sounds funny in my head, and just even thinking that I'm going to ask this question, you don't happen to have any food delivery services in this quaint little town, do you?
So I need to stop laughing so it doesn't sound like she's laughing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
it was hard to get that out with a straight face.
Heavens no, darling. Groversville is not that kind of town. We don't have any of your Gruber or your Super Eats,
yeah,
like that here.
Sure.
Don't even have a pizza place.
You can get takeout from the country bunker.
Yeah, of course. So you haven't seen anybody that hasn't rented a room walking to or from any of the rooms. So maybe if Jane Allen called a friend or something to come deliver food to her.
No, but I mean, it's like I said, I don't work, full time. Of course, I can't be here 24/7. I'm not some kind of superhuman. I would have to,
Sure.
And to your point, Agent Eastman, there's not even a fucking Domino's here. That is how shitty this town is. Like, even Domino's is like, nah, no market.
Chrissy's gonna take offense to that.
Chrissy lives in this kind of town and cannot
I know
get
she
pizza
does.
delivered. So,
I know
mean...
she does because the one Domino's in her town closed down. That is a true
situation do you have to
fact.
be?
I know, right?
Agent Southerland, you were making a thinking sound.
I was making a thinking sound. I know we asked, but I might have missed it. Did we infer our clerk's name at this point? Have we deduced it?
Miriam.
Miriam, that's what it was. We named her Miriam. Got it.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to say we. I don't want to take credit for what Agent Eastman came up
Of course,
with. You know,
of
fair
course,
credit to his
Credit.
original creation.
Yeah, Miriam. Okay.
OC, don't steal.
I will kind of pipe up and say, Miriam, I was trying to get in touch with kind of gestures over to the pamphlets. Scott Adams, you mentioned a lot of UFO types come through here, and I have overlapping research with them, and I understand that Scott Adams is the guy. Can you tell me a little bit about him? You interact with him a lot, or?
I mean, he comes in every few months doing more research. He doesn't live local. I think he's got a. I do not know enough towns in Tennessee to make one up. I just realized that. I know of 2. I know 3. There's this made up one. There's Knoxville and there's Memphis. So he's from Knoxville. He comes down from Knoxville every now and again. I want to say, yeah, about once every 3 months, just to do some more research, maybe some interviews. He's here now. He's booked in for the next 3 days. He's the one who's been renting stuff out, and then he's got his compatriots coming in. He tells me. I haven't seen him.
So does he? And he kind of smiled. You're being so nice. Thank you so much. Does he do these interviews here? And his body posture is kind of like a little like uncomfortable, just a smidge uncomfortable, but he's trying to fill the shoes, you know. So he's gonna do they do the interviews here? And he kind of will make a little show of like those couple of pamphlets that he pulled, and like is like pulling them from his pocket to be like he's a fan, you know.
I'm gonna be terribly honest with you, Mr. I don't pay that much attention to the man. He's good for business, but when it comes to all that woo asteroid little alien men thing, that's a bit much for me.
I see. That's okay. Well, maybe I can catch him. What does he look like? Maybe I can catch him in the lobby or something.
Not for nothing. If you're a huge fan, you would know what he looks like. If the angle that you're going for is that. But as described, I think the image that you're going to want in your head is moderator of a mid-tier subreddit. Whatever that conjures in your brain, that is Scott Adams.
I will say we did do the Google, so I would imagine there's like at least a picture of him on his website.
His picture's everywhere on his website. He wants you to know that he is the guy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like
I guess this might be like slightly retroactive, but in the Googling of the guy, does he have like a brand, an icon image or something?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure it's terrible. I'm sure it's like clip art quality, like a magnifying glass, like looking at a cow being pulled up to a flying saucer by. It's super complicated. The vision on the website, it's definitely like a very, very small PNG that he's stretched out. It's not good.
Did you make it?
Okay, I see where there's a level of hostility rising in the table.
Jesus.
Wasn't prepared for.
I wasn't prepared for it. I just watched the gas station clip again.
I'm just gonna put that down in my notebook here. These feelings especially aggressive in this game in case I want to do anything with that information as the scenario progresses.
Just being extra spicy. It's all the talkies.
It's all the talkies. Not enough lime.
Dr. West, checking back with me for a second. Does eating spicy food make you a bitch?
Not enough studies have been performed yet.
It's inconclusive.
Oh, darn. Sucks.
Well, I have some data points if you'd like. But yes, to the question that you're digging at, Mr. Adams, you know what he looks like. She has also not seen him recently. His rooms expire in the next at the end 3 days from now.
Okay.
Which is when she would expect to see him again. But she'll tell you that sometimes he rents the rooms and then drives out to the farms and spends time camping out and stuff. It's not you can't be a ufologist and just sit in the hotel room. You got to go out and find little green men.
Of course. All right. I
just can't get over the fact of the word ufologist. That's just a
ufologist.
Ufologist, yeah.
Thank you.
But that does give you another angle, right? Presumably you would know which of these rooms belong to your friend. So if you wanted to find Mr. Adams or abscond with some of his personal property, that is an option to you as well.
Yeah. Maybe one of those other locks will be easier.
Well, we'll get to that. But what I want to go back to first is, says Dr. West, you've probably been making some phone calls while this was happening, correct?
Yes. While this is going on, I'm like in the background being like, ask if anybody's delivered food. And then making a phone call.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, apologies not only to Southern folks, but now also the elderly. You call Doc Willis.
Hello? Oh, Doc Willis.
Old man Willis.
Did you hear that? Okay, sorry, no, right. Okay. Hello?
Hello, is this Dr. Willis?
Yeah, Willis speaking.
Hi, my name is Hannah West, and I am with we're a task force, right? I was like, is there any particular agency that we
you can just say like the federal task force investigating goings on, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I'm part of this federal task force that is investigating goings on, and we're looking into what maybe happened to Billy Ray, and we think it is some sort of drugs, and you were the one who was the physician for him, right?
Yeah, when his parents reported him being a little ill coming back, I was, of course, right on hand to help them out. The Spivey family and I, we go way back.
Good, good. So, in things I've been given, you said, he was very hungry, and there was, no urine or stool samples as well.
Well, I mean, that's what made it so strange. I mean, one of the many things that made it so strange, if I do say so myself, is that, he said he reported initially just a bunch of pain in joints, pain in muscles, pain in all that, and, couldn't beat it back with any ibuprofen or whatever. And I'm not the kind of doctor who's going to subscribe opiates to some young man faking pain. But there were no fevers, no nothing. Did palpations on his chest, no kidney stone, nothing in the gut. Just seemed to be all up in his brain. But it was, then you watch him trying to walk around, can't move no well. It was really, really terrible. Sorry, I came off like the dry voice because it was actually painful for me to speak that way, and I was going to start coughing. But as time went on, no stool sample. And I'll tell you what, that's remarkable. And I'm sorry, ma'am, I would normally not speak like this in front of a lady, but a man gonna eat that much, eventually he's gonna have to shit, right? But no, nothing. He was in my care for quite some time, and I told his family, go ahead, let me know. You gave him the stuff because if he's got that kind of pain on his body, it's got to be something gastrointestinal or whatever. As he is speaking, by the way, you are absolutely certain that this doctor has not been keeping up with the continuing education requirements of the Tennessee Board of Medicine.
Yeah.
But through all that time, nothing. As far as they tell me, no bowel movements, did not urinate for the period of would have been 6 days.
Yes, that is very concerning.
So I
Would-
assumed that it was due to impaction or some kind of GI issue, but before I could get any further, tragedy happened.
Yes. Would it be possible for you to send me any notes that you have about what you may have observed?
Quite frankly, ma'am, I don't want to sound like I'm being dismissive, but that is the long and the short of it. No test results came back, no nothing. I don't have much to send you, except to say that in the time that he was in my care, his appetite was like nothing I'd never seen. A whole bunch in, nothing out, and that was about as far as I made for it before. He turned on his paw.
Yes, but you said he was having trouble moving around.
Oh no. That's the wild thing about it, because he was explaining, all this pain that he was feeling, and also I'm assuming because he's backed up, you would have expected problems with mobility, but that was not the case. He just looked quite delirious and in agony, but did not show any kind of physical limp or gait, anything like that, which is part of the reason why when he came to me about the pain thing, I thought he might be drug seeking, but Billy Ray ain't that kind of guy. It just didn't make no sense, none of it all together.
And you've never seen anything like it before this or since?
Oh, heavens no. I mean, I've been a doctor in this town for 46 years now, and I ain't never seen nothing like that. This guy graduated medical school in like 1894. He's ancient.
At this point in the conversation, because these things are kind of happening at the same time, I'll just kind of poke my head out and I'll get Dr. West's attention, and I'll just be like, ask about Jane Allen. Ask if he's seen Jane Allen. And then I go back inside.
Yeah, and then that was going to be like that'll be my next question. It's just like, well, so since you know everybody in town, when was the last time that you saw Jane Allen? We've been told that she had some sort of relationship with Billy Ray.
You have asked a question that I think there might be an answer to, and I want to make absolutely sure I get it correct. So if you will give me just a second to go to that part of the scenario book. I have memorized a great many things, but there's always that one detail that if you get it wrong, it will come back and bite me in the ass. They'll be like, but you said they'd never seen the doctor, and you'll all feel betrayed and all feel terrible.
It's true. 100%.
But at this point, I can tell you that no, the doctor had not seen Jane recently. Maybe went in for a cold or euphemistically a lady issue, but that was months ago. He says lady issue.
Lady
kind
issue.
of like silly women in their uteruses.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else that I need to ask him right now.
Well, as not to impede the flow of play, we can say this conversation happened, and if you thought about it later, I'm not going to be like, yeah, you didn't ask.
I can call again. I have his number.
Yeah, we can say that you covered it because you're a professional doctor. You wouldn't make those kind of mistakes.
Get all the information. There's probably some questions that an actual doctor would ask that I myself cannot think at this moment.
Oh, we'll see if it becomes relevant. None of you are actual professionals, and to that point, fuck, neither am I. So we have plenty of room.
I mean, Aubrey's not actually a doctor.
No.
Oh my god!
I am so betrayed.
Right. Next thing you tell me that Logan's not a CIA agent.
Aaron, what are you doing with these people? I was expecting reality here.
It's all my fault. All of that said, I think then the next thing, I can't tell if you were leaning that direction about going to Scott Adams' room now.
Proximity, I think that's where we should go next.
Yeah.
Why not? There's plenty of rooms.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm Southerland, you are actually my point guy for this.
Me?
Yeah. Yep. If we actually get in contact with Mr. Allen here, you're gonna have to do some talking. I believe in you.
I believe in me too. We can. Okay, yeah. But okay, no, I can do it. I can do it. Yeah, I can do it. Let's do it. Let's go.
While this is happening, I walk off in the general direction of the rooms because I do not need to be here for this pep talk.
Sutherland's like, I can do it. And North is like, I'm gonna go do it.
I'm just gonna
follow North.
I just slap Sutherland's back like a little bit too hard to like give him something else to think about outside of like nervousness. Like, ow, that kind of hurt. Like, let's go talk. Let's go.
Okay. Just talking. We can talk. I can talk. I'm cool.
I recall in the past, Sutherland, your awareness or alertness is actually not very high, but someone does have it in spades, if I recall. Yes, Agent North, what is your number?
80.
Well, on an 80, I will tell you a couple things. That you are in a position where he has rented a ton of rooms, right? And you could just like try to knock them down or lockpick all of them in a row, but that would be a tremendous waste of time and resources. Instead, you are going to look for the thing that stands out. And I will tell you that it doesn't matter which side is east and which side is west of the hotel. We're not drawing a map, but you can see the light kind of shining behind a door, right? Like even if the windows are shut, you'd be able to see that little bit of sunlight or whatever. And that is true for all the rooms on one side of the hotel, except for one, underneath which, difficult to tell what has been shoved there without reaching in and touching it. Feel free to do that if you'd like, but it's like clothy. First guess, someone has taken a towel and shoved it into the front of this door.
Well, that's curious. I mean, I suppose if you're trying to muffle sound, if you're trying to sleep or something, because the walls and the door not very thick, but that seems like a very good room to start with.
Sure. How do you want to get inside of it?
Well, I assume my lockpicking is probably not up to par without trying to push it and making a lot of noise or something, right?
I mean, it's a different lock. This isn't the kind of thing that we want to get too in the weeds on. So
I would suggest we just knock first.
Is this door with the obstruction our guy's door, Scott's door? Have we inferred them to be the same or a different door
Scott
altogether?
has rented out a great many rooms. This is just the first one that draws your attention to start. I'll tell you what, V, if you roll and you don't crit fail, we will say it succeeds. And if you do crit fail, then I'm just going to go to my table of fun shit that happens to you and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, I didn't crit fail.
That's fine. I'm not gonna get into the to degrade the situation of like, okay, well, I'm gonna lockpick the next door, and then other adjoining doors kind of lockpick that one, and then we just like, roll dice until the laws of averages kick in.
Yeah.
So you'll say that you are able to jimmy your way into this door. Hell, who knows? Maybe it was a shittier lock, and you would have gotten a +20. It's just the mysteries of the universe.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. Definitely would have made it.
So, yes, you open up the room. I will give you the credit, as Agent Eastman suggested, of knocking first. Tell you that there was no response from being knocked. It is pitch black in here, which is weird because it's during the day. And if you look up to the windows, you can see why. Because not only are the I need to put the dice down. I'm clicking them in my hands like poker chips. As you look up at the windows, it's not just that the blinds are pulled shut. Well, no, curtains go like this. Blinds would be like that. It's not that the window coverings are secure. They've actually been taped over. Like someone has taken trash bags, cut them open, duct taped them, made several layers to put this place to make this place as dark as possible. So seeing in any further is going to be troublesome unless someone has a flashlight handy. The second thing, and Agent North, since you have a bunch of awareness and also proximity. Oh, this is going to be a thing for you because like your actual real life superpower is smell. It does not smell good in here.
Oh no.
I would venture to say it smells quite bad.
Oh
actually.
No.
As somebody who is a doctor, can I maybe identify what the smell is? I've probably smelled decomposing bodies before.
Hard to like it. Is it? It's organic, right? But like, is it? And you can't tell if it's just because you're not getting a really good whiff of it? Is it mixing with something else? Is it not human? Like, you can't. There's a lot happening in the olfactory region all at once. And humans haven't needed those skills evolutionarily for a long time, so
I just kind of cover my mouth and my nose and just, oh my god.
I have a flashlight, my stuff.
And Evelyn's got a cell phone.
So I will pull that out and start to shine it into the room and just, kind of like look and hope that Eastman and Southerland are on their way. So we are all doing this at the same time.
I'm pulling Southerland with me to be like, we're going to the door where we're going.
For sure. Well, there's no monsters waiting in the room. I'll tell you that much. You see, it looks lived in. There is some clothing that sits neatly folded around, like on top of the dresser or whatever was in the room. Other clothing just kind of cast around the place, left and right. There is junk food containers all over the floor, like takeout from the country barn, wrappers and stuff you picked up from the gas station. Some of it has the leftovers from like a week or so ago still, yeah. There's a portable computer, a laptop computer, a Macintosh laptop computer, sitting on the desk. It is currently plugged into the wall. Aside from that, bathroom door on your left, and that's kind of the gist of it. There is no Scott Adams in this part of the room.
The source of the smell is just kind of all of that, right? Or is it like...
if you were playing this game and you had highlight objects on the little odor wafty, if this were The Sims, the little odor wafting animation would be coming from the bathroom.
I have a question. Have we arrived, or are we still traveling there?
Oh no, you and
We're
Eastman
present?
Eastman shoved you through the
Okay,
door,
all right.
and then West and I are just behind.
Just making sure. So it smells pretty bad. So, I will kind of bring like my shirt up to my mouth a little bit, and then we'll just kind of. The room's lights are out, right? Can I look for like the switch?
Yeah. I mean, like everyone else is like flashlight, tactical, and you just reach over and lights come on.
100%. I flip the switch. I just would walk in and just flip it on, just to be like,
works just fine.
Can't see the light. Anything crazy? Are we attacked?
No. I mean, lights come on. There's no power cut here, nothing like that.
Okay.
What's in the bathroom?
Are you gonna go look?
Yeah, I'm gonna nudge West. Yeah, and just kind of like nod towards the bathroom and just like, pull the hoodie up and try and just like cover and just like make layers to block it. But yeah, I want to go check it out. But with West, I don't want to go alone.
Well, I will put this up front because I want to be clear about it. Trigger warning for self-harm. That will give some of you a clue about what to find, but if someone needs to back out on that, absolutely let me know right now. No harm, no foul. I will bring you back in when we're done here. But yes, I would say the most interesting thing in the bathroom is the body in the bathtub. You see a man approximately 34 to 40 years old, heavy set, big curly bushy beard, big curly fluff of head. He is wearing boxer shorts and a t-shirt. And Dr. West, in your professional medical opinion, your official diagnosis would probably be death from dozens of slashes across his wrists. The body is sitting at about slightly above, like around armpit high, as he's slumped in it, with water, you presume, that is caked thick with human blood, we presume. And then at least it's dark enough that you can't see through it. You can't look down into the bottom of the bathtub based on that. Also, probably going to grab your attention on the top right. This is right. Of his head. Well, no, this is going to be left on screen. Is this right? I don't. On the top of his head, on one side, is a large bulge, 3 inches ish in diameter. You would say, professional medical opinion. Yeah, 3 inches in diameter, whitish tissue, and hairless.
Before we go too far, we've seen the pictures. This is not Scott Adams.
I'm assuming it is Scott Adams.
It's Scott Adams.
Yeah.
It is Scott. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we enter and we kind of look at all of this, I just kind of call out to Southerland and Eastman, since they're in the room and not the bathroom. And I just say, I don't think you're gonna get a chance to talk to Scott Adams, Southerland.
What? Why? Did you find him? And he'll just like, too green, too naive, will just like haphazardly just walk into the room, like super too close in personal space.
Well, I believe 100% that Dr. West has seen things like this and Agent North has seen like this. I do not believe for a moment that Southerland. Yeah. So, Agent Southerland, will you roll SAN for me real quick, and we'll see to what degree this experience affects you.
You got it.
And I pull out like I probably have some of my stuff with me, so I have like latex gloves. So I pull those out and put them on, and I have like kneeling by it. I'm
Can I
pretty
have
much
a pair?
going through. Yeah, and anybody who needs them, I will hand them to them.
Oh well, 2 things. 1, Agent Southerland, finish your thought. What was up?
I rolled a 91.
Okay, you'll just take 1. Just lower sanity by 1, because this is like a level of violence and grossness that you were not. I mean, like
So question mechanic. So I have a pool of sanity points. Do I detract 1 from that?
Yep.
Okay. Got it.
And then as the game goes on, you'll have less and less and less, which makes it harder and harder and harder to roll under that number, and thus the spiral of Eldritch Madness begins.
I dry heave.
I'm like, out of the bathroom.
Like, do not puke on my evidence. So help me God.
It's an immediate like walk in, and it is just a little bit of like, and will like slowly like turn to compose himself. But you ever like been trying to compose yourself like with like sweats, where you're like real hungover? It's one of those where he's taking a moment to steady himself, but I think would ground himself. But yeah, he's having a moment about it.
Well, hold that thought before we try to determine how well Agent Sutherland's going to handle the next moment, because there was a conversation happening on the left of my screen, not clear, but will be on the overlay, between Agent North and Agent West, and I think the words that I heard that I'm very curious about were, "I'm going to put the gloves on," and then I saw this motion, which I believe is like rooting around for evidence.
First, she's probably, I'm going to pick up like his arm and sort of like look like, do these look self-inflicted? Do these look like somebody else did it? Because one like a normal person, like a person who did it would probably go a specific way. And then I'm also going to try and figure out like, how long ago was this? Like, was this recent? Like, was this in the last 24 hours? Was the last 48 hours? And sort of kind of in my mind try to detach myself from it and just sort of go like, okay, I need to catalog all of these things. I'm back in medical school. This is just a dead body that I have to, look at and tell the person, like, tell my teacher, like, this is what happened to them. This is how they died. This is my diagnosis of them. Searching for evidence is later. And then it's also going to look at the thing on his head.
Don't poke it.
We'll come back to that. Agent North, what are you up to?
Well, I mean, as much as I'd like to keep Dr. West company, I would be interested in the computer that's in the room, because obviously.
So you leave the bathroom?
Yes.
Cool. Dr. West. To answer your questions in rough approximate order, these wounds were self-inflicted. You can tell by the angle of attack That's a plain term. It doesn't seem appropriate here, but the angle at which they were made, and the tool appears to have and not been like a razor you would select if you were intending to take your own life. That's the first thing that's going to stick in your mind. And the second is, if you do intend to commit suicide, you don't normally just keep going 20 or so times up back and forth across your own wrists. That is the first odd thing. The second odd thing is that a moment ago, there was a 3-inch diameter white fleshy kind of blob on this man's head. And then you went to look at his wrists. And now there is not, as you go into the next part of your examination, a 3-inch fleshy blob on his wrist. I would love to tell you where it went, but you don't know.
You mean on his head? You said on his wrist?
On his head. Yeah, that's my mistake. Yeah.
And is there anything underneath it? Is it just like scalp?
If you've seen like an abscess healing, there's still like a little bit of a divot that looks it's a healing wound. Yeah. Whatever that was, it was attached biologically speaking. It's not like there was like a cavernous like divot.
And we didn't hear like a sound of something falling into water.
Did you?
Aaron, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it on me as I left the bathroom?
Is it? First question, how would you know? And second, if you can't answer that question, who would you ask?
Literally anybody? Like, do I have anything on me? I'm asking a little bit above table right now because I obviously do not know that it is missing.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to know whether this thing is currently on me.
Well, you would have no reason to suspect it, but it's not like you feel like someone like throwing like a rotten tomato kind of lump on you, right? You don't feel anything like inching up the back of your spine, crawling around, rolling under your armpit, or like sneaking into your shoe. You know, there's nothing obvious there. In point of fact, you're going to have slightly more important things to worry about in a moment, at least as far as I'm concerned, or at least I hypothesize. Because the location of this blob doesn't really matter in the immediate moment, because as Agent North leaves, and you think about it cinematically, Agent Southerland is like still kind of like heaving, trying to get his shit together. Agent Eastman, you're hard at work. You're doing CIA shit, trying to figure out this room, letting the professionals handle the bathroom. Agent North comes out like, well, I guess I'm gonna check out the laptop. And as those like the camera pans across the room, seeing all of these things, you're gonna see through the bedroom or the bathroom door into the bathroom. And then you see Dr. West leaning down. She looks at the arms. Right. Well, she scopes the whole scene, looks at the arms, looks back at the head, and cinematically, when she realizes that the lump is gone, that's the moment that she looks over her shoulder back at all of you. Right? Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which means the next thing that happens in this moving moment is: have you ever heard a pipe settling? Can you turn on an old faucet?
Mm-hmm.
No.
That incredibly loud, metallic banging, the bong bong hollow going through the entire thing. And have you ever heard when you have like fish in water, if you've seen like the videos on the internet, you throw some bread in and all they just start frothing around? Well, I want you to keep those two images in your head, because this is the situation as it will exist a week from now when we return to Delta Green Convergence.
Are you kidding me?
Right on schedule for that.
That's just gonna be in my head.
It.
That is so cruel.
I didn't like that at all.
Well, I hope that the not liking it does not transition into not finishing it, because I am sure we all want to know what is going to happen. Dr. West, most of all.
Yes, I'm right there.
Has the most immediate interest in this situation. Once again, thank you, everybody. I am Aaron. I have been your storyteller. This is Delta Green Convergence by John Scott Tynes. You can pick it up. I don't think you can pick it up on Drive-Thru RPG, actually, because it is in the old Delta Green book. This is some vintage stuff. But I have been your storyteller. Joining us as Agent Eastman, Logan. Tell us who you are, where folks can find you, what your projects are.
Oh my gosh, secret projects, all secrets. But reality, you can catch me on Twitter. I'm at Logan DM. Check me out. The only big thing I'm contributing to the space that might interest anyone is that I make a lot of homebrew based off of anime, which it's been fun. Check out my Oath of the Moon Paladin. You can summon an alicorn, so
I'm sorry,
you go.
owlicorn?
Yeah,
Alicorn. It's a Pegasus unicorn. Aaron, can you please just
Okay, I need to know. Is it AL or
Yes.
is it OW? Okay.
ALI? Yes,
No, I heard
alicorn.
owlicorn, and I was
Definitely not owlicorn.
I
Well,
was
you can
doing the
summon an
chimeric
owl
stitching
too.
thing.
You can summon an owl too. So actually, I mean, no, we're not chimeraing this shit. It's just fight evil by moonlight, and summon
When Love by Daylight.
Hey, absolutely all the time. So,
And also joining us this evening, happy to have them here, our mercenary Jojo. Tell us who you are.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I'm Jojo. I go by Jojo. You can find me on Twitter at it's DM Jojo. I don't have anything to plug. I just am here to make friends and tell stories, and make some good memories. I guess I don't know. I'm kind of lame like that.
I don't think
So-
any of these memories are going to be good, Jojo.
So, that's fine.
I've got some bad news for you.
Bad
about this game,
news.
actually.
I'm just here to have fun and make friends. I guess that's all. But I'm happy to be here.
Well, speaking of amazing new friends, Aubrey, tell us who you are, what you do.
Hello, I am Aubrey. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Mad Queen Cosplay. And usually you can find me herding cats over on Goblets and Gays. It's a fun little Pathfinder 2E homebrew game. Pathfinder 2E homebrew. It's fun. And you can also find me every Monday over on Nat 20 Productions, playing in Wayward Arcadium, which is a lot of fun. Pathfinder 2E Magical School. And then every other Thursday, you can find me over on Bring Your Own Mech, where I play Sawyer, your local disaster lesbian who loves swords.
I thought it was the law that lesbians have to like swords. That's why they made the game.
Yeah, it is kind of a law, but I am the only one in our group who is a lesbian who uses
Fair.
swords. So,
And you've seen her here all the time, but I love her nevertheless. V, tell us who you are, what you do.
Hi, I'm V. I'm on Twitter at V is for Vampire. I'm here at QCG. This is my home. That's why I have the hoodie. Yeah, I do all the stuff and all the things. And yeah, see you next time, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of us might not have a next time, but we'll find out. I am Aaron, as always, your storyteller. You can find me on the internet at Aaron in Words. But more often than not, you can find out what I'm up to by following us at Queen's Court Games on Twitter.
Queen's Court RPG.
At Queen's Court, because at Queen's Court Games was too long.
It's too long. And
Right.
at Queen's Court Game is weird. So at Queen's Court
Queen's
RPG.
Court RPG on Twitter. Queen's Court Games, everywhere else, YouTube and so on. New friends, you've been fantastic. Old friend, you were fantastic too. Cannot wait to see what happens to Dr. West. And then the rest of you, join us again, same time, same place, next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
bye.